Chapter 3384. Shadow, do you also think that he has the bearing of an extreme supremacy? Ji Xian looked at Shadow and asked with a fake smile. His expression was completely different from the kind one he had when facing Night Sorrow. It was as if he was a completely different person. Without a doubt. In my opinion, although his current cultivation level is the lowest, he's the one most likely to advance to the extreme state among the seeds. Shadow was wearing a pitch-black mask. When he said this, there was no trace of emotion in his voice. After he finished speaking, Ji Xian said coldly, in other words, he's the one most likely to become food for the three extreme supremacies. Yes. However, don't mention the matter of the three extreme supremacies nurturing extreme state experts to be devoured. If this gets out, it'll definitely cause panic. Shadow said coldly after Ji Xian finished speaking. Don't worry, Ji Xian said confidently and continued. The fog area needs blood and killing to support this matter. After so many years, it hasn't been exposed. Moreover, the fog aura is even stronger than before. This proves that we've done a good job. That's true. Compared to us fishermen, these fishes know too little. If they know that no matter how they struggle, they'll still be devoured in the end, I wonder what will happen? Shadow said with a cold smile, his words full of mockery. At this moment, Ji Xian frowned and said, if the three extreme supremacies can each devour a new extreme supremacy, the possibility of them killing Yan and Yan Hengshi will increase greatly. As long as they devour these two, one of them might advance to a new cultivation level. Then they'll open the door to a new world. No one can be sure whether the new world exists or not. However, if there's a new world, I'll be the first to enter, Shadow said with some anticipation. Although Ji Xian did not say anything, his face was full of anticipation. Night Sorrow, who knew nothing about the conversation between the two, was already preparing to leave Killer Heaven Academy. However, just as he left Ji Xian's palace, before he could fly out of Killer Heaven Academy's gate, he was stopped by a figure. The person who stopped him was none other than Su Zhetian, who had some grudges with him. After leading his subordinates to stop Night Sorrow, Su Zhetian said with a fake smile, Night Demon, I trust you've been well since we last met. What do I have to do with you? What's the meaning of you stopping me? Night Sorrow glanced at Su Zhetian and said coldly. He did not have a good impression of the person in front of him. Not only had they fought before, but Su Zhetian's subordinates were the Lin Lin's family members. A playful smile appeared on Su Zhetian's face when he heard Yi Shang's words. Night Demon, we're all sensible people, so I'll be direct. What does it have to do with you? Yi Shang stared coldly at Su Zhetian. At this moment, he no longer felt the same pressure when facing Su Zhetian. At that time, Su Zhetian even had the ability to kill him, but he didn't cherish it. As long as you admit it. Su Zhetian sneered at Night Sorrow. If you know what's good for you, hand over half of what you have. Otherwise, you won't be able to leave Lutian Academy today. Are you sure you have the guts and strength to make me unable to leave Lutian Academy? Night Sorrow asked disdainfully when he heard Su Zhetian's words. I've already investigated. You have nothing to do with the three supreme supremacies. Furthermore, the Academy doesn't care about the fights between students and elders. Your strength is no match for mine. If you don't hand over what you have, I'll kill you today, Su Zhetian said confidently. Ever since Night Sorrow had been exiled to the Mass Burial Star region, he had understood that Night Sorrow had nothing to do with the three supreme supremacies. If he had, he wouldn't have become a victim of the fight between the three vice-chancellors. After he finished speaking, Night Sorrow said with a smile, there's a saying that goes like this. We haven't seen each other in a few hundred years. Are you sure you have the strength to take me down? Your cultivation level has increased, and you've reached the peak of the upper heavenly supreme level. However, I'm already a half step to the supreme level. The gap between us is even greater than it was back then, Su Zhetian said arrogantly. Therefore, I advise you to hand over what you have. I'm already giving you face by not taking your territory. I don't need a piece of trash like you to give me face. I can't possibly take down the Lin clan. Yi Shang had a disdainful smile on his face. Su Zhetian had just reached the peak of the half-step to the supreme level. Even if he had outstanding talent, His strength would at most be on par with Lin Hai from the Lin clan. Now that he had reached the peak of the upper heavenly supreme level, his combat strength was much higher than when he had fought with Lin Hai. He was almost certain that he would win. Bastard. Master gave you face but you didn't want it. Go to hell. Seeing that Night Sorrow didn't take Su Zetian seriously, one of Su Zetian's subordinates attacked immediately. I don't even care about your master, let alone you. In the face of Su Zetian's attack, Yishang waved his hand and smashed it into dust. The whole process was so fast that Su Zetian didn't even have time to react. Seeing that Night Sorrow was so powerful, Huang Jie, who was standing behind Su Zetian, said telepathically, Master, this night demon's strength seems to have increased a lot. We have to be careful. Although his strength has increased a lot, it's nothing compared to mine. Just watch. Su Zetian, who was extremely confident in his own strength, replied to Huang Jie and attacked Night Sorrow with the Astral Void Fist. He had used this move against Night Sorrow before. However, as his strength increased, the power of this move also increased. How many times are you going to use the same move? Night Sorrow was speechless when he saw that Su Zetian had used the Astral Void Fist on him. At the same time, he activated the Treastrimsa Battle Mystic technique and the Destruction Mystic ability. After increasing his strength, he suddenly attacked Su Zetian with a Broken Void Palm. The Broken Void Palm and the Astral Void Fist collided. Su Zetian seemed to have turned into a meteor and was sent flying into the sky. At this moment, Night Sorrow smiled and said, It seems that your strength isn't worthy of your confidence. Bastard. Su Zetian, who was originally full of confidence, was sent flying by Night Sorrow. He had lost face in front of his subordinates. He couldn't hold on any longer. With a loud roar, he took out the Astral Void Spear and attacked Night Sorrow with a spear technique. Astral Void Thousand Demons Spear. In an instant, countless demons appeared in the void. After these demons appeared, they all flew towards Night Sorrow. Master, you're actually using your strongest technique? Seeing that Su Zetian had directly used his strongest technique, Huang Jie and the others were stunned. Chapter 3385. As a celestial lord, Huang Ji had submitted to Su Zetian because Su Zetian was one of the strongest celestial lords. He could definitely rank in the top 10. Even if the elders of the endless galaxy were included, he could rank in the top 30. In Baron Thorn's opinion, Su Zetian had the power to look down on all living beings and suppress him to the point of suffocation. At this moment, he saw Su Zetian use his most powerful technique, the Star Ruins Demon Spear, against Night Sorrow. He immediately looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. He wasn't stupid at all. He knew that Night Sorrow must be extraordinary to receive such treatment from Su Zetian. The gap between them must have widened. This made him very depressed. A few hundred years ago, when he fought with Night Sorrow, he was only slightly suppressed. Su Zetian's other subordinates weren't too familiar with Night Sorrow. They lamented how a heavenly supreme who hadn't even reached the half-step supreme realm could send Su Zetian flying and force him to use his most powerful technique. They were amazed. Star Ruins Demon Spear? Night Sorrow clearly felt some pressure when facing Su Zetian's technique. Every single one of those demons that filled the sky gave off a very strong feeling. He guessed that they were evil spirits summoned by Su Zetian from the Star Ruins, or the projections of demons. Although the strength of these demons couldn't be quantified, they gave off a very dangerous feeling. As they flew towards Night Sorrow, some of them spat out flames, while others brandished their axes. Facing them, Night Sorrow immediately summoned the power of merit to protect himself, and activated the half-step Supreme Realm Green Phoenix armor. Holding the Golden Heavenly Halberd and the Desolation War Halberd, he shot out the Extreme Flame Demon Spear at the demons in the sky. The flames burned the demons in the sky. Although the flames weren't very aggressive, they contained a strong power of merit. The demons that were burned by the flames were instantly annihilated. Some of the demons that dodged the flames were continuously pierced by Night Sorrow when they attacked him. In the end, Su Zetian's so-called most powerful technique didn't have any effect on him. What? Master's strongest technique is of no threat to the Night Demon? Seeing Night Sorrow easily receive Su Zetian's attack, Baron Thorn became even more agitated. Su Zetian's other subordinates were the same. The way they looked at Night Sorrow had changed. Su Zetian himself was still very calm. With a smile on his face, he looked at Night Sorrow and said, "No wonder you are so confident. It looks like you do have some ability. You have no right to judge whether I'm capable or not." Night Sorrow looked at Su Zetian with the sea serpent eye and said. Then he waved his hand and shot out the Extreme Flame Mother Gun. When the Extreme Flame Solo Mother Spear approached him, he used a combination of the Divine Energy Trapping Formation and the 100 Words mantra to bind it. Su Zetian, who was bound, had an ugly expression on his face. He said, "Your strength has indeed exceeded my expectations, but you will definitely die today." As he roared, he looked up to the sky and roared, "Star ruins descend." Boom! In an instant, countless meteors fell from the starry sky. They smashed towards Su Zetian. As these meteors fell rapidly, they shattered the Divine Energy Trapping Formation and the runes that Night Sorrow had set up. Then they entered Su Zetian's body one by one. His aura continued to expand. After a dozen breaths, Su Zetian's aura had become close to the 4th grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. After increasing his strength to such a level, Su Zetian's body bloomed with endless starlight. At this moment, he squinted his eyes and said coldly, "You will die a worthy death if you can force me to use my ultimate battle form. You don't have the ability to kill me." Night Sorrow, who was floating in the void, let the golden heavenly halberd and the desolation war halberd float on his left and right. He started to burn his 3 bloodlines to increase his strength. He knew that he could not be careless when facing Su Zetian. The strength that Su Zetian had displayed was not inferior to Lin Hai, who was at his peak. He was even more threatening than Lin Hai. This was his battle instinct. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. The ignorant are truly fearless. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Su Zetian suddenly laughed wildly. As he laughed wildly, he burned the power of the stars in his body, increasing his aura by several times. Then he used a unique skill. Infinite Star Void Technique. This Infinite Star Void Technique was different from the attacks that he had used before. After being used, it was completely invisible, colorless, odorless, and formless. However, Night Sorrow clearly felt that danger was approaching. What's going on? While Night Sorrow was pondering, he had a strong premonition that he did not want to see. At this moment, he had already opened the Sea Serpent's eye, but he could not see where Su Zetian's attack was coming from. Naturally, he could not think of a way to break it. He could only secretly raise his defense. He set up the 100 Words mantra and Divine Essence trap array around himself, and summoned the Infinite Void Cauldron to suppress the void. Then he summoned the Silver Dragon Void Shield that Ji Xian had given him to prepare to block the opponent's attack. Seeing Night Sorrow's performance, Su Zetian's face immediately revealed a disdainful smile. He sneered. "All the light in the world is starlight. It's everywhere. How can you block it? Let me tell you, even if you take out that ancient coffin from last time, you will still be killed in an instant today. Star Annihilation." After Su Zetian shouted the 2 words Star Annihilation, all the light around Night Sorrow began to shatter. It formed wave after wave of explosions, bombarding the void with countless black holes. Although Night Sorrow's defense was amazing, he was still heavily injured after being hit by such an attack. However, unlike what Su Zetian had expected, he did not summon the ancient coffin to block it, and he was not killed in an instant. What? Infinite Star Void Technique, Star Annihilation. Even I can't kill you? Seeing that Night Sorrow was injured but not defeated, Su Zetian was surprised. However, he then silently chanted the spell again, preparing to use the second move of the Infinite Star Void Technique, Chaotic Stars. At this moment, Night Sorrow sneered. "Do you think I'm a wooden dummy who will not fight back after being attacked by you? In your dreams." After shouting, Night Sorrow shot the Ice Fire Mother-Child Spear at Su Zetian. At the same time, he used the Divine Vitality Trap Array, Virtuous Virtue Trap Array, and the 99 Tao Words to seal him within. Once the Ice Fire Mother-Child Spear was used, everything around him, including the starlight and the void, was frozen. At the same time that everything was frozen, the terrifying flames burned again. Faced with these 2 extreme attacks, Su Zetian's body was shattered before he could even unleash his next move. Night Sorrow had been lying in wait, and when he used his strongest attack, it immediately had the effect of killing. What? Master was killed in an instant? How is this possible? This is absolutely impossible. Seeing that Night Sorrow killed Su Zetian in an instant, Huang Ji and the others were completely dumbfounded. Chapter 3386. They felt that even if Night Sorrow could defeat Su Zetian, it shouldn't have been like this. He had killed Su Zetian in one hit. This was simply a mental torture to them. They couldn't accept it at all. What do we do? Are we going to welcome death too? Huang Jie and Su Zetian's subordinates were restless at this moment. They didn't know what to do. They stood there in a daze. Fight against Night Sorrow? They knew they didn't have that ability. This night demon's strength is really extraordinary. I'm afraid this is the difference between Supreme Stage and non-Supreme Stage. Ji Xian, who had been watching the battle for a while, lamented. As someone who didn't have Supreme Stage aptitude, he felt sad. Hee, look at what Night Demon is doing. At this moment, the shadow reminded him. Hearing this, Ji Xian immediately looked at Night Sorrow and realized that he was preparing his next attack. This is... Seeing that Night Sorrow had defeated Su Zetian and was still preparing his next attack, Ji Xian was puzzled. Although he didn't see through Night Sorrow's intention, he knew that he wasn't preparing such an attack to attack Huang Jie and the others. This was because Su Zetian's subordinates, including Huang Jie, didn't deserve such treatment. It's simple. This is because he sensed that Su Zetian hasn't completely fallen. The shadow said in a cold voice. What? Su Zetian hasn't completely fallen? Ji Xian was puzzled. Maybe this is the difference between Supreme Stage and non-Supreme Stage aptitude. You might not be able to sense it. However, Night Sorrow and I can sense that the shattered Su Zetian is being reborn at an extremely fast speed. The shadow explained coldly and continued. It seems that Su Zetian also has Supreme Stage aptitude. Is that so? Is that so? Ji Xian was a powerhouse who was half a step to Supreme Stage, but he couldn't sense that Su Zetian was regenerating. He immediately frowned and felt very uncomfortable. The truth was just as the shadow said. Su Zetian was indeed regenerating and Night Sorrow could sense it too. When he finished preparing his attack, Su Zetian's figure suddenly appeared in the starry sky. He was riding on a warhorse that was galloped by starlight and held the Star Ruins spear in his hand. This spear carried with it an endless amount of starlight, as if it was going to hit all the light in the starry sky. Under the situation where the void darkened several times, it fiercely struck where Night Sorrow stood. I've been waiting for you. In the face of Su Zetian's attack, Night Sorrow roared and used the Ice-Fire Mother-Child spears once more. Using the Golden Heavenly Halberd and the Desolate War Halberd, he unleashed an extremely fierce attack. When the attacks from both sides collided, the surrounding space was instantly shattered. Many mountains and pavilions in Lu Tian Academy were razed to the ground. That's, SSS, S attacks. Yi Shan and Su Zetian, who had been hit by this attack, both retreated 1,000 kilometers. Su Zetian T Night Sorrow's was not much better. He was barely standing in the void. Then, both sides did not stop and immediately launched the next round of attacks. In the battle, Night Sorrow Sleeken's bloodline was much stronger than Su Zetian's. Gradually he gained the upper hand in the battle again. At this moment Huang Ji, who saw that Su Zetian was in a passive position, suddenly shouted, "Everyone follow me. If we don't attack, Master will die again." Su Zetian's reactivation had made them very excited. However, seeing Night Sorrow gain the upper hand again, they panicked. Naturally, they could no longer sit still. Don't you realize the difference between us? Seeing Huang Ji and the others attack, Night Sorrow scolded disdainfully. He waved his hand and used the void-shattering palm. Just this move alone caused Huang Ji and the others to be severely injured. After being sent flying, Huang Ji and Su Zetian's other subordinates could not stand up again. At this moment, Night Sorrow summoned the Eternal Divine Tower and said, "Little Five, put them all in. Wait for my orders." "Okay, no problem." Little Five responded and continued, "That's right. We got a half-step Supreme Realm 3rd grade spear from Lin Hai. Do you need it?" "Not now. Wait until I take down Su Zetian." Night Sorrow, who was fighting against Su Zetian, was already at a disadvantage because he attacked Huang Ji and the others. Su Zetian, who had revived, had already used the Star Ruin's fatal spear. This move was something he had comprehended when he was resurrected. It was much stronger than the moves he used before. Facing this move, Night Sorrow immediately used the 99 Tao Words formula and used the Divine Essence Trapping Array and the Virtuous Trapping Array. He also used the Silver Dragon Void Escape in front of him. Then he used the Ice Fire Spear. This move was essentially the Divine Spear, but it contained the ice and fire attributes, so it was much stronger than the Divine Spear. Buzz. When Night Sorrow used the Ice Fire Spear, Su Zetian's Star Ruin's Fatal Spear was already in place. After the two sides collided, Night Sorrow's Silver Dragon Void Escape was instantly shattered. The Divine Essence Trapping Array and the Virtuous Trapping Array were also instantly broken. As for the 99 Tao Words formula, the one used for defense did not have much effect either. Night Sorrow, who was supported by the Tao Words formula, clashed with Su Zetian. He was once again evenly matched with Su Zetian. Both sides retreated tens of thousands of miles. How is this possible? Even the Star Ruin's Fatal Spear, which I just comprehended, can't kill him? How am I supposed to fight him? He realized that the Star Ruin's Fatal Spear that he had just comprehended could not kill Night Sorrow, only severely injuring him. Su Zetian's face was filled with disbelief. However, he did not lament too much. After recovering, he flew towards Night Sorrow's position. He wanted to take advantage of Night Sorrow's injury to continue inflicting heavy damage on him. Through the Nirvana earlier, he had already understood that he could resurrect infinitely. According to Su Zetian's plan, as long as he continued to inflict heavy damage on Night Sorrow, he would be able to win. Night Sorrow, be careful. He seems to have the intention of perishing together with you to fight you. Little Five, who was controlling the Eternal Divine Tower, immediately reminded Su Zetian when he saw Su Zetian's performance. I know. He lost this battle because he relied too much on his own resurrection ability. Night Sorrow, who was facing Su Zetian, sent a voice transmission to Little Five and began to fight with his opponent again. After Su Zetian chose to sacrifice himself to injure his opponent, Night Sorrow quickly gained the upper hand. Seeing that Su Zetian was about to be killed, he sent a voice transmission to Little Five. I can already tell that Su Zetian can resurrect, but this time, I won't give him the chance. When he is severely injured again and is about to die, put him into the Eternal Divine Tower. Chapter 3387. Alright. He thinks that he's invincible just because he can keep reviving. But he doesn't know that the Eternal Divine Tower can consign him to eternal damnation. Little Five replied confidently, and began to wait for the right time to come. Not long after, Night Sorrow dragged his injured body and severely injured Su Zetian again. He sent him flying with a single blow. Su Zetian, who was sent flying, even had a smile on his face. It was as if he did not care about his injuries at all. I wonder if you can still smile so confidently in a few breaths' time. Seeing Su Zetian's indifferent smile, Night Sorrow laughed coldly and sent a telepathic message. Little Five. Do it. Alright, I've been ready. Little Five responded and controlled the Eternal Divine Tower to send the severely injured and defenseless Su Zetian into it. How can this be? How can this be? You're despicable. After being sent into the Eternal Divine Tower, Su Zetian was completely stunned. He did not expect Night Sorrow to have such a trick up his sleeve. Despicable? Is it not despicable to let you revive endlessly and become stronger to kill me? After sending Su Zetian into the Eternal Divine Tower, Night Sorrow immediately sent a telepathic message. Then he said, I know that you can revive endlessly because of the Star Ruins. Hand it over, and I can spare your life. You want my Star Ruins treasure? Dream on. Hearing this, Su Zetian immediately said in disdain. Alright. In that case, you can live in the Eternal Divine Tower forever. Little Five, seal him in a space where only one person can stand. If he shrinks, you shrink the space. Night Sorrow knew that Su Zetian was not that easy to deal with and immediately handed the task to Little Five. He also told Little Five that he must not let him die. Don't worry. Once he enters the eternal divine tower, his life and death will be controlled by us. It's impossible for him to die even if he wants to, Little Five promised. All right. I'm relieved to hear that. Sai, if I'm not wrong, this Suzhitian has the aura of the Supreme Realm. He's the type that I'm looking for Senior Changsheng. Unfortunately, Senior Changsheng has already passed away. After Night Sorrow lamented, he sensed the people around him. There were still a lot of people watching the battle. There were about a dozen of them. This included the 3 vice deans. What made him feel astonished was that there seemed to be very terrifying existences by the side of these 3 great vice deans. As for these people, he only sensed them briefly before withdrawing his god soul. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Little Seven comforted him. Night Sorrow, you don't have to be sad. I think supreme longevity is extraordinary. He shouldn't die so easily. Who knows, he might appear in front of us one day. I hope so. Let's get out of here. Night Sorrow knew that there were some people in Lu Tian Academy with unfathomable strength. He immediately flew out of the academy. He planned to find a place to purify the 2nd floor of the Eternal Divine Tower. When Night Sorrow's figure flew far away, Shadow looked at Jixian and said, Night Demon has very strong perception. He just discovered my existence. This Night Demon seems to be very talented in all aspects. He doesn't have any obvious shortcomings. I hope he can become food for those few people. I'll be recorded as a meritorious deed. Ji Xian smiled as he looked in the direction Yishang had left. To him, the better Night Sorrow developed, the more likely it was that he would be devoured by the 3 supreme supremacies. If nothing goes wrong, he will definitely become a supreme supremacy. Just wait for your reward. After this battle, he might obtain the ability to revive infinitely. Shadow and Ji Xian looked in the same direction. He judged that Night Sorrow could obtain the secret of unlimited revival from Suzhitian. Night Sorrow naturally didn't know about this. After he left Lu Tian Academy, he found a secluded forest and purified the 2nd floor of the Eternal Divine Tower. Then he let Little Fool catch up with Little Five and the others. After chatting for a while, Little Five handed over the control of the Eternal Divine Tower to Little Fool. This was a rule they had formed over many years. Little Fool, who had obtained control, asked Night Sorrow and Little Five about the current situation. He suggested, It's very difficult to save Big Brother and Third Brother now. Why don't we save Little Four? I know where he is. Sure. If we can save Little Four, we can combine the 7 floors. We can at least reach the 4th stage of half-step supreme supremacy. If we can prepare an attack, it'll be even more terrifying. After Little Fool finished speaking, Little Seven agreed. Little Five and the others agreed as well. Seeing that they all had the same idea, Night Sorrow smiled and said, Little Fool, you lead the way. Okay. But according to my latest news, he's currently in a large faction in the fog. Based on the current situation in the fog, this faction is very likely to be attacked by very strong students or elders. It won't be easy for us to succeed. Little Fool said at this moment. Now that the fog has become chaotic, it's not easy to determine his location. As long as there's a chance, we'll try our best to take him down. Hearing Little Fool's words, Night Sorrow immediately expressed his opinion. He knew that in the future battles, it would be impossible to not have a supreme supremacy divine artifact. Now that there was a chance, he had to quickly collect it. Okay. In that case, I'll control the Eternal Divine Tower and lead the way. Little Fool immediately said when he saw Night Sorrow's attitude was so certain. Okay, it just so happens that I have something to do too, Yishang said before entering the Eternal Divine Tower. He began to cultivate the mist breathing technique in the space, 10 times larger than usual. After about 30 years, he successfully cultivated the fog breathing technique to the 9th level. He was only 10% away from perfection. Just as he was about to break through the last 10%, Little Fool suddenly transmitted a message. Night Sorrow, we're here. Okay. I'm coming out. With only one more level to go, Night Sorrow was not in a hurry to cultivate. He directly came out of the Eternal Divine Tower. Looking at the surrounding illusion, Night Sorrow discovered that he was actually at the bottom of the sea. He immediately asked, Is our target territory at the bottom of the sea? Yes. This is the most special territory. In this territory, everyone is from the Sea tribe. The waiter explained and continued. As for the person who attacked them, I don't know who it is. I'll find out about these things. How far are we from the main city of the Sea tribe? Night Sorrow opened his sea serpent's eye and asked. We're now in the territory of the Sea tribe. They have 3 main cities, all of which are distributed in the 3 major oceanic trenches. I'm not sure which main city Little Four is in. Little Fool immediately replied. Hearing this, Night Sorrow nodded and said, Okay, then we'll look for them one by one. Then he began to search at the bottom of the sea. Chapter 3388. After that, Night Sorrow brought the Eternal Divine Tower and started searching the seabed. However, before he could find the trench, he encountered a team from the Lu Tian Academy. The team was led by 7 or 8 half-step Supreme Realm cultivators, and consisted of 2,000 to 3,000 heavenly sovereigns. It was definitely a huge force. If such a powerful team were to attack the Night Demon territory, Jie Lin and the rest would not be able to defend it without Night Sorrow around. There's a familiar figure. After observing for a while without being discovered, Night Sorrow realized that there was a familiar person in the team from the Lu Tian Academy. He was Elder Ziyin from the Star Hall. When Night Sorrow was fighting with his opponent, he had expressed his goodwill to him. At this moment, he was not standing in the main seat. Instead, he was standing beside a young-looking cultivator. He seemed to be acting as the brains of the team. Their group stopped for a short while before moving in a certain direction under the command of Elder Ziyun. Their aura was very strong. They must be here to defeat the Sea tribe and occupy the seabed. Their target will definitely be the main city. If we follow them, we should be able to find at least one main city. Looking at Elder Ziyun and the rest from afar, Night Sorrow thought for a while. In the end, he did not go forward to greet them. Instead, he brought the Eternal Divine Tower and quietly followed behind the team. While following them, he kept a safe distance from them, which was the maximum distance that the sea serpent's eye could see. Night Sorrow, keep a distance. Be careful of the young cultivator leading the team in front. He gives me a very dangerous feeling. After Yi Shan had followed behind the group for a while, the waiter reminded him. Although the young cultivator in front did not release his godly domain, and his aura did not leak out, he still felt a little shocked. That feeling could not be described with words, but he was wary. Could it be that the cultivator has some special means against divine artifacts? Night Sorrow looked at the cultivator from afar, and did not sense any danger. He immediately suspected that the cultivator had some ability to restrain divine artifacts. That might be the case. If we fight, we must be careful. Anyway, I feel very uncomfortable facing him. The same goes for Little 5 and Little 7. The waiter said with lingering fear. He didn't dare to look at the young cultivator again. She suspected that he had some kind of ability that could restrain divine artifacts. Good. If a fight breaks out, I will take you into the Space Grotto Heaven. Oh right, give me the half-step Supreme Stage Grade 3 Divine Weapon. At this moment, Night Sorrow suddenly thought of the Grade 3 Divine Weapon he had obtained from Lin Hai in the Eternal Divine Tower. All right. Little Fool nodded and handed the divine artifact to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow held it in his hand and felt it for a while. It did not feel as close as the golden heavenly halberd and the desolate war halberd. He was prepared to find an opportunity to throw it into the golden heavenly halberd and refine it. But now that he was tailing the other party, he definitely could not do that. Thus, he kept the other party into his space paradise. In the following days, Night Sorrow followed behind the main group. Finally, after 2 months, they found the first trench. Very good. We found the trench. I can leave them and bring you to look for the city. If you sense Little Four, inform me immediately. The trench was very long and deep. It was almost boundless. After Night Sorrow discovered it, he distanced himself from Elder Ziyun and the rest. He found a secluded area and sneaked into the trench. He felt that if Elder Ziyun and the rest entered the trench, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. If they fought, he would have an excellent opportunity to sneak into the city and find Little Four's tracks. If he was too close to them, he might be exposed. and the development of the situation was similar to what Night Sorrow had expected. Elder Zi Yun and the rest entered the trench with such a huge formation. The Sea Tribe was alerted immediately. Before they could get very far, the half-step Lemiter of the Oceanic Tribe appeared in front of them with countless Oceanic Tribe members. Because Elder Zi Yun and the rest were here to conquer the Sea Tribe, both parties did not even exchange a few words before they started fighting. The few half-step Supreme Stage experts of the Lu Tian Academy were very strong, especially the young cultivator who led them. He had a very strange treasure bowl in his hand that could suck in all the Sea Tribe's divine weapons. With him showing his power, the Lu Tian Academy quickly gained the upper hand and slaughtered the Sea Tribe members who blocked their way. Then, the Sea Tribe members who came began to summon the other Sea Tribe members in the trench. At this moment, Night Sorrow was not too far away. After realizing that the situation had become chaotic, he said, "Since the situation has become chaotic, we don't have to find our way." Then he transformed into the Sea Tribe's aura and appearance, and captured more than 10 heavenly supremes of the Sea Tribe members. He started interrogating them in the Eternal Divine Tower. Soon he found out about the 3 main trenches and the 3 main cities of the Sea Tribe. It turned out that this trench was the only way to go to the other 2 trenches. It was usually called the first trench. If one wanted to go to the other 2 trenches, they had to pass through the main city of this trench. Moreover, the 4th level of the Eternal Divine Tower that he wanted to find was not in this trench. Instead, it was in the main city of the 2nd trench. In recent years, the 4th level of the Eternal Divine Tower had been placed in a square in the 2nd main city. It was not difficult to find. However, the difficulty was that the owner of the 4th level was a Sea Tribe expert who was a half-step to the Supreme Realm. If one did not kill him, it would be difficult to sever the connection between the 4th level and the 4th level. However, as an outsider, it was almost impossible for him to kill a level 3 half-step to the Supreme Realm Master in the 2nd Oceanic Trench without anyone noticing. With my half-step to the Supreme Realm strength, can I sneak into the other 2 trenches with my own strength? After asking about Little 4, Night Sorrow continued asking. He felt that although it was not easy to snatch the item, he should at least find it first. Hearing this, one of the Sea Tribe members said, "If you have the identity of a Sea Tribe member, you can pass through at any time. If not, you can only force your way through. With your half-step to the Supreme Realm strength, it's almost impossible to break into the 2nd trench from the 1st trench." Most of the Sea Tribe members in the city have come out to provide support. Even I have no chance of breaking through? Night Sorrow continued asking doubtfully. He could sense that the Sea Tribe was at a disadvantage in the battle now. They would definitely continue to provide support, and by then, the city would be relatively empty. Chapter 3389. In the chaos, you might not even have the chance to break in. At the junction of the 3 trenches, not only are there powerful formations, but there are also half-step Supreme Realm experts guarding it. Unless the Sea Tribe is in danger of being exterminated, they will not fight. The Sea Tribe member captured by Night Sorrow said. In his opinion, the defenses at the junction of the trenches were impregnable and Night Sorrow had no chance to sneak in. Do the Sea Tribe and their formations have any special means to identify people? Night Sorrow continued to ask. He felt that there was a chance to sneak in. After all, now that there were people attacking, the Sea Tribe would definitely be in chaos. As long as there was chaos, many things would be easy to do. The Sea Tribe uses aura to identify friends and foes. The Sea Tribe members have a unique aura of the sea. This is something that other cultivators do not have and cannot detect. A Sea Tribe member rushed to answer. They were now captured and their lives were in Night Sorrow's hands. Naturally, they wanted to perform well. Okay, I understand. It seems that there is still a way to enter the 2nd trench. Night Sorrow heard this and thought for a moment. Then he refined a Sea Tribe member who had been looking at him coldly and had not spoken a word, into a puppet. He entered the puppet with the Eternal Divine Tower, and disguised himself as a Sea Tribe member. He then moved towards the junction of the 1st and 2nd trenches. At this time, most of the Sea Tribe members were flying out in an organized manner. Obviously, they were preparing to support the other Sea Tribe members in the battle. It was not easy for him to move in the opposite direction. If not for Night Sorrow's outstanding movement technique, he would not have been able to enter the city even after the battle ended. After that, Night Sorrow used a few hours to reach the junction of the first and second trenches. However, there were people from the second trench constantly appearing in the first trench. Obviously, they had heard about the battle and were here to support. With so many Sea Tribe members swarming out, it was not convenient for him to enter the second trench. Although the junction of the first and second trenches stretched for thousands of miles, it was not possible for him to sneak in while moving in the opposite direction. If he was too conspicuous, he would definitely be exposed. It is chaotic, but they are still organized. It is not easy to sneak in. Hiding the body of the Sea Clan, Yishang frowned and looked ahead. As the battle in front of them became more and more intense, the number of Sea Tribe members that appeared increased. As for the Oceanic race, their numbers were simply too large. The number of heavenly sovereigns that had appeared had reached tens of thousands. As for earthly sovereigns, there were at least a few million of them. They rushed out from inside and completely occupied the passage. In that case, there was even less of a chance for him to pass. Why don't we go in from another place? From what I can see, the level of the defensive arrays around us isn't low, but we have the power to break it. Once we're done, we'll dig a hole and enter. At that moment, the male hammer of the restriction breaker hammer sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow. The Oceanic race had set up a formation in a radius of several million miles to prevent others from entering. Moreover, if one wanted to enter these locations, they would have to break through thousands of miles of stone walls, which was very troublesome. However, for a powerhouse like Night Sorrow, passing through the stone walls was not too difficult. All right, let's widen the distance and find a place to enter using this method. After the male hammer finished speaking, Night Sorrow felt that although this method was a little troublesome, it was the only choice they could make now. After thinking for a moment, he added, "We'll dig a few more passages so that it'll be easier for us to leave. The battle is so intense that it'll be difficult for them to leave their original positions. We have to ensure that we can leave unscathed. And I feel that as long as we can return to the first Oceanic trench, we can leave safely. After all, this place is very wide. However, the second and third Oceanic trenches are a little suffocating." Little Fool said. Just now, everyone had received information about the other two Oceanic trenches from the Oceanic race. They roughly knew what was going on inside. After that, Night Sorrow took the restriction breaker hammer and flew 2 million miles away, allowing them to start breaking the array. The restriction breaking hammer had done this many times, but this time, it encountered a lot of difficulty. Because the Oceanic race's array was relatively special, it was very difficult for them to break it. Seeing that they could not break it in a short period of time, Night Sorrow set up a concealment array and used half-step Supreme Realm 3rd stage materials to upgrade the Golden Heavenly Halberd. After 7 days and 7 nights of refining, he successfully upgraded the Golden Heavenly Halberd to half-step Supreme Realm 3rd stage. Seeing the Golden Heavenly Halberd upgrade, the Desolation War Halberd said enviously, "Boss, do you have any more materials? Why don't you upgrade me too?" Originally, it was a 2nd grade material, and the Golden Heavenly Halberd was a 1st grade material. Now that it was surpassed, it was a little uncomfortable. "And I'll give it a try," Desolation said. Night Sorrow did not refuse. After all, he was sincerely following him and had played a big role in the battle. After thinking for a moment, Night Sorrow took out some Extreme Flame Phoenix gold and added it to the Desolation War Halberd. After spending another 7 or 8 days, the Desolation War Halberd was also refined to half-step Supreme Realm 3rd stage. At this moment, the Restriction Breaker hammer still had not completely broken the array set up by the Oceanic race. Since he had nothing to do, Night Sorrow might as well upgrade the Blue Phoenix battle armor to half-step Supreme Realm 3rd stage. He had given a lot of Extreme Flame Phoenix gold to his friends. Now he was using it to upgrade the Desolation War Halberd and Blue Phoenix battle armor. Even if he could successfully purify the remaining Extreme Flame Phoenix gold, it would not be enough to refine a Supreme Realm Divine artifact. However, Night Sorrow did not feel that it was a pity. This was because only by continuously increasing one's strength could one better survive in this chaotic world. This would allow one to obtain more resources. After helping the Golden Heavenly Halberd, Desolation War Halberd, and Blue Phoenix Battle Armor to avoid the Lightning Tribulation, they waited for the Restriction Breaker Hammer for another 6 days. They had finally broken the Oceanic Race's array. After breaking the array, Night Hammer smiled and said, "If we also advance to Half-Step Supreme Realm 3rd stage, the time needed to break the array will probably be reduced by 70%. Haha, is that so? In any case, there is still an array to break. Why don't I help you guys complete the upgrade too?" As they spoke, Night Sorrow used the remaining Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold to help the Restriction Breaker Hammer complete the upgrade. Then they began to dig holes together. After digging for about 6 or 7 days, they finally dug to the other end of the array. While the Restriction Breaker Hammer was busy, Night Sorrow dug a few more holes. As for the Restriction Breaker Hammer, it was just as they had said. After advancing to Half-Step Supreme Realm 3rd stage, the speed of breaking the array was much faster. This time, it took less than 7 days to break the array formation. He transmitted his voice to Night Sorrow. "Night Sorrow, the array has been broken. Do you want to enter now?" "Okay, I'm coming." Night Sorrow replied and quickly rushed back to where the Restriction Breaker Hammer was. From here, he entered the 2nd Oceanic Trench. Following the path pointed out by one of the Oceanic race, he slowly advanced towards the 4th level of the Eternal Divine Tower. However, just as he approached, he saw a patrol team led by a cultivator at Half-Step Supreme Realm 3rd stage near the 4th level. Chapter 3390. This patrol team was obviously in charge of guarding the 4th level of the Eternal Divine Tower. Even though the battle had been going on for so many days, they were still here. At this moment, there were still sea tribes from the 2nd and 3rd Oceanic Trenches rushing towards the battle. Isn't the number of oceanic species too much? There are so many half-step to the Supreme Realm, Heavenly Sovereigns, and Earthly Sovereigns. How did the elders and students of Lu Tian Academy manage to hold on for so long? Little 20 was puzzled when he saw so many sea tribes rushing to support them. Logically speaking, with so many sea tribes participating in the battle, no matter how weak they were, the people outside would not be able to handle them. However, they continued to support them, which meant that the battle was not over yet. Maybe there's a super expert among them that the sea tribes can't handle. I suspect that it's that young cultivator. Night Sorrow speculated as he waited. He was waiting for the number of reinforcements to decrease. When it decreased to a certain extent, he would attack the patrol team. Just like that, half a month's time passed. After another half a month, the number of sea tribes reinforcements from the 3rd Oceanic Trench finally decreased. At this moment, Night Sorrow finally swam towards the 4th level of the Eternal Divine Tower. As he approached, the half-step to the Supreme Realm Sea Tribe leading the patrol team shouted, "What are you doing here instead of fighting? Do you have designs on the demonic tower?" "Yes. I want to take this tower," Night Sorrow said as he took out his Golden Heavenly Halberd and Baron Thorn Battle Halberd, and used Mother of Ice and Fire on the Sea Tribe. This was one of his more powerful attacks. After using it together with the 99 Words Mantra and the Divine Vitality Trap formation, it instantly severely injured the half-step to the Supreme Realm Sea Tribe. Oh no! Enemy attack! Someone has entered the 2nd Oceanic Trench. After being severely injured, the Sea Tribe immediately roared. At the same time, the Sea Tribe behind him transmitted messages to the others, asking for reinforcements. However, most of the Sea Tribes had already gone out to fight. There were not many who came to support them. There was only one half-step to the Supreme Realm Sea Tribe guarding the 3rd Oceanic Trench. Night Sorrow, who was facing them, fought very smoothly with the help of all his divine weapons. In less than an hour, all the sea tribes in front of him were killed. After that, he successfully purified Little 4 and combined him with the other parts. When the 7 parts of the Eternal Divine Tower were completed, his cultivation level immediately rose to the 4th stage of the half-step Supreme Realm. He was only 1 and 3 levels away from rank 5 and Supreme rank. Night Sorrow, after we advanced to the 4th stage of the half-step Supreme Realm, We gained many new abilities. After the combination was completed, Little Seven immediately sent a voice transmission. Oh, what abilities do they have? Night Sorrow asked curiously. In the past battles, Night Sorrow had only relied on the Eternal Divine Tower to launch attacks, collect enemies, or accumulate cultivation resources. We can do what the restriction-breaking hammer did just now, and we can do it much faster. Little Seven said proudly. Oh, are you saying that the current Eternal Divine Tower has the ability to break through formations? Night Sorrow said as he looked at the small tower floating in front of him. Upon hearing this, Little Seven continued. Yes. Furthermore, as long as it's a formation of the 4th grade or below, we can instantly destroy it. Now, if we want to leave this place, we can go in any direction. We actually have such an ability. If I had known, I wouldn't have dug so many holes. As Night Sorrow spoke, he looked around and released his godly soul power to sense the surroundings. He realized that this place had become an empty city. He suddenly felt that he could do something. Elder Ziyun and the others were like mantises stalking cicadas, while he could be the Oriole behind. He could snatch the resources of the Sea Tribe. With this in mind, Night Sorrow immediately asked the Sea Tribe members in the space, "Do any of you know where the treasure vaults in the 2nd and 3rd oceanic trenches are?" "Sir, I know. There's no treasure vault in the 2nd oceanic trench. The treasures of the Sea Tribe, other than some on the Sea King, are all in the 3rd oceanic trench. In addition, can we follow you in the future?" As soon as Yishang spoke, a member of the ocean race stepped forward. In fact, they had already realized that the territory of the Sea Tribe would likely be occupied by others after today. They might as well rely on Night Sorrow directly. "All right. On account of your good performance, you can follow me in the future. After this war, the Sea Tribe will likely cease to exist. I will be harming others by releasing you." Night Sorrow spoke as he walked towards the 3rd oceanic trench. Hearing this, the dozen or so Sea Tribe members who were captured hurriedly expressed their gratitude. They were only mediocre heavenly sovereigns in the Sea Tribe. Under normal circumstances, they should have died in the battle. Unexpectedly, they were captured midway and kept their lives. It was a blessing in disguise. At this time, the guardian of the 3rd oceanic trench had already been killed by Night Sorrow. Hence, he easily entered the 3rd oceanic trench and found the treasure vault of the Sea Tribe according to the guidance of his subordinates. The location of the treasure vault of the Sea Tribe was very secretive. It was in the deepest part of the oceanic trench. One had to endure the pressure of the huge whirlpool and dive hundreds of thousands of miles. After observing the whirlpool for a while, Night Sorrow looked at the Eternal Divine Tower and said, "According to Little Seven, it shouldn't be a problem for the Eternal Divine Tower to pass through this whirlpool, right?" Little Fool immediately replied, "Of course. After all, in essence, we are refined from Supreme State materials. It's just that we need to combine all of them to activate the Supreme State. Facing the pressure of the whirlpool, it's not difficult at all." "Okay, then bring me down," Night Sorrow said and entered the Eternal Divine Tower. He let Little Fool control the Eternal Divine Tower and bring him down. He seized the time and studied the last word of the 100-word mantra in 10 times the space. However, when the Eternal Divine Tower passed through the whirlpool and arrived in front of the Sea Tribe's treasure vault, he still couldn't figure it out. He immediately gave up on his research and came out of the Eternal Divine Tower. With the help of the Eternal Divine Tower, he successfully broke open the door of the Sea Tribe's treasure vault. He began to collect the treasures inside. In the Sea Tribe's treasure vault, the accumulated resources were not inferior to the Lin clan's. There was also some precious extreme ice mysterious iron, like the extreme flame phoenix gold. It could be refined into Supreme State divine weapons after purification. It was definitely good stuff. After Night Sorrow and the Eternal Divine Tower collected these things, Little Fool immediately asked in confusion, "Why didn't the experts of the Sea Tribe keep all the resources with them? If they stay in the treasure vault, aren't they waiting for others to harvest them?" Hearing this, Night Sorrow asked, "Do you think it's more likely for a person to die or for an entire tribe to be wiped out?" "Oh, I understand. If they are placed in the treasure vault, as long as the Sea Tribe isn't attacked, The resources are absolutely safe. Little Fool immediately understood the logic behind it. Chapter 3391. It wasn't that the leader of the sea race, the Sea King, didn't have the ability to collect the items. However, if he brought all the resources of the clan with him, the risk would be too great. It would make people cower in fear. Yes. There aren't many people like us. Night Sorrow said with a smile and continued. Now that we have the items, let's leave quickly. Okay. If we wait for them to finish the battle, it won't be easy to leave. The waiter said and kept Night Sorrow, preparing to enter the vortex again. However, at this moment, Night Sorrow suddenly frowned and said, "Not good, someone is coming. I'm afraid that the Slaughtering Heaven Academy has completely defeated the sea race. Then they're heading straight for the treasure vault." No matter how great the losses were on the Slaughtering Heaven Academy's side, the remaining strength was something that Night Sorrow could not resist. He sensed a little and discovered that more than 10 cultivators had arrived. These cultivators were all half-step Supreme Realm. We're stuck here. I'm afraid it won't be easy. The waiter immediately frowned and said, "We choose to leave from another direction. You control the Eternal Divine Tower, and find a new route." After fusing 7 levels of the Eternal Divine Tower, it could break through all formations below the 4th grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. Although the treasure vault was below the vortex, there were also formations around it. However, the level of the formation was at the 4th grade of the half-step Supreme Realm, so it was not enough to restrict the Eternal Divine Tower. Okay. However, the formation of the 4th grade of the half-step Supreme Realm will limit our speed. After saying that, the waiter brought Night Sorrow to a random location in the treasure vault and sneaked in. Once again, he activated his persuasive mode. Using such a method to leave was something that the sea race would never have imagined. Less than 10 breaths after the Eternal Divine Tower left, the subdued Sea King came out of the vortex with more than 10 half-step Supreme Realm experts. And among these dozen or so half-step Supreme Realm experts, there were actually Andrew and Nangonghe. It was precisely because of the two of them that the people from the Slaughtering Heaven Academy successfully defeated the sea race. As soon as they came out of the vortex, Nangonghe said, "Jinghai, the extreme ice black iron of the sea race can be used to forge Supreme Realm divine artifacts. You will be the one to collect it later. In the future, when you advance to the Supreme Realm, you can use it to forge a divine weapon." "Thank you for your care, Auntie." Upon hearing this, Jinghai smiled. He was the injured young cultivator with the magical treasure bowl that Yi Shiwen had seen on Night Sorrow. The treasury seems to have been taken by someone else. At this moment, the captured Sea King suddenly spoke. With Andrew and Nangong Lotus present, even a 4th stage half-step Supreme Realm King like him didn't have the ability to resist at all. What? Someone beat him to it? Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. Hearing this, Nangonghe's expression immediately changed. With a roar, he released his divine soul to check the treasury. After probing for a bit, she immediately became furious. "Sea King, did you do something to it?" "No. I've been fighting with you guys all this time, so how could I have the chance to attack the treasury?" The Sea King said helplessly. He was a king of the sea. Now that he had been reduced to a prisoner, it was quite pitiful. "Auntie, I don't think he was lying, because my cornucopia senses that there are traces left by others here." At this moment, Jinghai opened his mouth and said, he looked at the wall and said, "If I'm not wrong, he left through the wall. Let me check." As soon as Jinghai finished speaking, Elder Purple Cloud summoned a purple cloud mink that was overflowing with spiritual energy. When the purple cloud mink was summoned, it began to distinguish the aura in the treasury. Not long after, it reported to Elder Purple Cloud. The aura here belongs to Night Devil. I've come into contact with Night Devil before." The purple cloud mink remembers his aura. After Elder Purple Cloud received the information from the purple cloud mink, he immediately said in surprise. He had never thought that the aura in the treasury belonged to Night Sorrow. "Night Devil? That little bastard not only came out of the Chaos Burial Star region, but he also came to take our resources. He's courting death. Let's chase." Hearing the name Night Devil, Andrew immediately became furious. Originally, he thought that Night Sorrow would definitely die in the Chaos Burial Star region. He didn't expect that not only did he come out, but he also destroyed the Lin family. At this moment, he appeared here to pick up the treasures. Are we going to use this hole he created to chase after him? Hearing Andrew's words, Jinghai immediately asked in confusion. It was obvious that he wasn't willing to use this method to chase after him. Andrew glanced at Jinghai and said, "The extreme ice mystic iron is prepared for you. If you don't want to chase after him, we naturally don't care." I heard that this Night Devil was the first to attack a large family and occupied the territory of the Lin family. The current him can run away, but the temple can't run away. It doesn't matter if he leaves temporarily. Jinghai said confidently. Are you confident in destroying Night Devil? You have to know that Nangong and I won't help you if you attack the people of Lu Tian Academy. Andrew naturally knew what Clearwater meant. He said coldly, "Don't worry. Night Devil's territory can't be compared to the sea race at all. I naturally have the confidence to deal with him. There's no need for the two elders to do anything." Jinghai looked at the hole in the wall and said disdainfully, "Besides, this kind of scoundrel is not magnanimous at all. How can he be a match for me?" Jinghai, you can't be careless against this Night Devil. He's the same as you, with the aptitude of the Supreme Realm. In the entire academy, he can be considered a top-notch existence. Seeing that Jinghai was very confident, Nangong he immediately instructed. From her point of view, the fact that Night Sorrow was able to survive after being targeted by them, and even achieve something of his own was proof of his luck. "And don't worry. As long as you give me some time, my 10 generals and I will easily wipe out the Night Devil's territory." After Nangong he finished speaking, Jinghai continued to speak confidently. "Okay. Then I'll leave the matter of the sea race's territory and the Night Devil to you. We'll leave first." Nangong he glanced at Jinghai and continued. At this time, Jinghai continued, "I hope Ant can keep the Sea King." "Okay. I'll give it to you." After Nangong he handed the Sea King to Jinghai, she looked at Andrew and said, "Let's go." "All right." Andrew nodded and left with Nangong he. After the two of them left, Andrew immediately sent a voice transmission. "Who do you think is more likely to advance to the Supreme Realm and become food for the Night Devil?" "I think both of them have a chance. Jinghai has a higher chance. After all, he's already at the peak of the 3rd grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. Among the younger generation, he's already one of the top few existences. And he has many methods." Nangong he judged. "I hope so. I always feel that Jinghai is a little too proud. This might make him weak." Andrew looked at Nangong he and said, "Yes. Yes." Chapter 3392. In Andrew's opinion, compared to Night Sorrow, Jinghai was too pretentious. Under normal circumstances, such a pretentious person was not as strong as those who had no taboos. In the end he would be a breath away. "Don't worry, it's fine. Don't forget that their cultivation bases are completely unequal. Moreover, in the battle against the Lin family, they only had 4 half-step Supreme Realm warriors. On Jinghai's side, not including himself, there were still 10 half-step Supreme Realm warriors. The Night Devil definitely won't be able to withstand it." Nangong Lotus said confidently. Between Night Sorrow and Jinghai, she still favored Jinghai. "And I hope so. If it weren't for the rules set by the 3 Supreme Venerables, we wouldn't have attacked the Night Devil directly. I would have killed him long ago. How can the two of us be suppressed by that old thing?" Andrew said with an unhappy expression. He still bore a grudge against the trouble Night Sorrow had brought him. At this moment, Nangong Lotus smiled and said, "What's the hurry? Don't forget, we still have a trump card." "That's true." Andrew smiled and nodded. "Our 2 trump cards will definitely advance to the Supreme Venerable Realm. This is something that Jixian can't compare to." "Yes. That's right. So, you can calm down a little. Just watch the show calmly," Nangong Lotus said with a cold expression. While they were talking, Night Sorrow had already left the 3rd trench under the lead of the Eternal Divine Tower. He left in another direction and successfully left the ocean. After leaving the sea, Xiao Er asked, Night Sorrow, where are we going next? There are a few choices. First, we can search for the third floor. Second, we can help Senior Yen find his bones. Third, we can return to the Night Devil territory and distribute the resources to everyone. Among these few things, the last one should have a higher priority. Night Sorrow replied. In his opinion, it was better to distribute the resources of the sea race to everyone first. Okay, then I'll control the Eternal Divine Tower and fly toward the Night Devil territory. You can cultivate in 10 times the space. After Xiao Er said this, he flew in the direction of Night Sorrow's territory. At this moment, Night Sorrow sent a voice transmission to Little Seven. Little Seven, how's Su Zhentian? Su Zhentian is still very persistent. According to our settings, in terms of his senses, he has spent 5,000 years in a narrow space. But he has no intention of compromising. Little Seven replied telepathically. You guys think of another way to get rid of him as soon as possible. The power of Star's power. Night Sorrow had once absorbed Star Ruin milk from the Yen Hung clan, so he could use some Star Ruin power. If he could obtain something related to the Star Ruins from Su Zhetian, his strength would definitely increase greatly. Hearing this, Little Seven immediately replied, Don't worry. Since we can't trap them, let's release our inner demons. Alright, you guys hurry up. I'm going to continue practicing the fog breathing technique. When I reach 100% mastery, I will climb the mountain of flames. Then I'll complete the hidden mission. Let's see what rewards I can get. After saying this, Night Sorrow began to cultivate in 10 times the space. He wanted to cultivate the fog breathing technique to the 10th level. Little Seven and the others continued to attack the stubborn Su Zhentian under his orders. Under these circumstances, Xiao Er controlled the Eternal Divine Tower and smoothly flew to the center of the Night Devil territory. Friends Gathering City. Yin Yi was the one who named this city. It was located in the old nest of the Lin clan. After arriving, Xiao Er sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, are you coming out to meet your friends or continue cultivating? Meet my friends first. Night Sorrow's research on the fog breathing technique was close to success. But he still came out of the Eternal Divine Tower and found Yin Yi. Brother Yin Yi, please gather everyone together. I have resources to distribute. Resources? We haven't used up all the resources we got from the Lin clan. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Yin Yi was a little surprised. He couldn't think of where Night Sorrow could get resources from. Yi Shang looked at the surprised expression on Yin Yi's face and said, Hee, when I was searching for the 4th floor of the Eternal Divine Tower, someone was attacking the Oceanic tribe. I was lucky enough to obtain the treasury of the Oceanic tribe. What? The entire Sea tribe's treasury? Then we're rich. Yin Yi exclaimed. He had heard of the Sea tribe and the Sea King. But after his exclamation, Yin Yi said worriedly, But you took all the resources that some people wanted. Will they take revenge on us? It's possible. No matter what, gather everyone together first. I'm at a critical juncture in my cultivation, so I won't say much. After saying that, Yishan returned to the Eternal Divine Tower and continued to cultivate the fog-breathing technique. Yin Yi followed his instructions and began to gather Xian Yan, Jialin, Hasa, and the others. At this moment, everyone was no different from a feudal lord. They all had their own territories, and the size of their territories wasn't small at all. After receiving the notice, they gathered everyone and rushed to Gathering Friends City, using the teleportation portal. While they were rushing, Night Sorrow was completely immersed in his cultivation. In the process of cultivating the fog-breathing technique, he seemed to have become one with the fog and gradually became familiar with its aura. Why do I feel that the so-called fog aura is basically slaughter and blood? How did it form? In the process of cultivating, Night Sorrow began to become interested in the nature of the fog. He kept pondering in his mind. As he gained a deeper understanding of the fog, he completely mastered the 10th level of the fog-breathing technique. After successfully cultivating the 10th level, what complemented each other was that his understanding and usage of the dense fog aura had become much smoother. He thought to himself, now that I've mastered the fog aura so thoroughly, There shouldn't be anything to be afraid of when I meet the Supreme Exalt's clone. After distributing the resources, I'll head to the Mountain of Flames and climb to the top. I wonder if I'm still considered a newcomer. Just as Night Sorrow was thinking, Little Fool suddenly transmitted his voice. Night Sorrow. Most of your friends have already gathered. Do you want to go out and meet them? Of course I'll go out. Night Sorrow replied and asked, how's the interrogation of Sujetian? Although he hasn't given in yet, he shouldn't be able to hold on for much longer. We can feel the change in his mood. Little Fool replied. I'm very good. You guys continue. Hearing this, Night Sorrow responded with satisfaction and came out of the Eternal Divine Tower. Then he distributed all kinds of resources to his friends. He armed everyone again. Then he left the Night Demon territory again and flew to Luteon Academy. Chapter 3393. When he arrived at Luteon Academy, Night Sorrow immediately flew towards the Mountain of Flames. At this moment, Luteon Academy was completely empty. He didn't see a single living person before he arrived at the foot of the Mountain of Flames. The entire academy has become an empty city. Territories and resources are indeed enough to drive people crazy. Night Sorrow, who knew that most people had gone to attack the major factions to snatch the corresponding resources, muttered to himself. He stood at the foot of the Mountain of Flames and activated his spirit power to investigate. He found that the Mountain of Flames was no different from before, so he started climbing. His current strength was much stronger than when he first entered Luteon Academy. The strength of his body was completely different from before. He didn't encounter much of a challenge when he started climbing. He easily reached the peak. However, the pressure of the flames suddenly erupted at this moment. Night Sorrow originally thought that the test of the Mountain of Flames was too simple, because he reached the peak easily. However, in the blink of an eye, scorching flames emerged from the summit and started burning fiercely. The strength of these flames was far from what the flames below could compare to. He immediately felt as if he was being refined by them. It was extremely uncomfortable. These flames are incredible. What's going on? Do I have to endure these flames to successfully reach the peak? Night Sorrow thought to himself as he was being burned in the flames. Thinking of this, he took out the hidden mission scroll and checked it. He found that the mission was indeed not completed, which confirmed his thoughts. In the flames, he released his god territory and continued to endure. After Night Sorrow released his god territory, the feeling of being refined by the flames disappeared. Instead, it was replaced by a strong sense of comfort. It felt as if he was soaking in a hot spring. It was very gentle. You're quite capable. Try an even more powerful flame. At this moment, an old voice suddenly sounded. The surrounding red flames suddenly turned dark green. After the flames turned dark green, the temperature increased by more than 10 times. These dark green flames are indeed very powerful, but they can't stop me. After the flames increased the temperature by so much, Night Sorrow roared and ignited his Phoenix bloodline and Scale bloodline. He also activated the Treastrimsa Battle Mystic technique and the Destruction Mystic ability. After fully activating his status, he was able to resist the terrifying flames. This time, after the dark green flames were resisted, they immediately became gentle, and a comfortable feeling rose up again. Furthermore, being burned by this gentle flame, Night Sorrow immediately felt that the strength of his body had increased. He could even resist the netherworld heavenly flame. Now, I'll let you experience the might of the Supreme Exalted Bone Flame. Seeing that Night Sorrow was able to resist the green flames, the old voice spoke again. The power of the Supreme Bone Flame? Could it be Senior Yan's bone fire? Upon hearing the old voice's words, Night Sorrow began to speculate. What happened later proved that his guess was correct. After the old man finished speaking, the Mountain of Flames suddenly turned into a huge skeleton. Above his bones, a pale white flame was burning. These flames did not look very strong, but being burned by them, Night Sorrow immediately felt immense pressure. There was a burning sensation around his body, and he felt like he couldn't hold on any longer. Indeed, anything related to the Supreme Venerables was not simple. Ha ha ha. How is it? You can't hold on any longer, right? Seeing that Night Sorrow was in great pain, the old voice spoke again. At this time Night Sorrow replied, "No, I can't." After speaking, Night Sorrow activated the green phoenix armor on his body. While using the armor to resist the flames, he let the armor absorb the essence of the flames, and was prepared to directly refine it to the fourth stage of the half-step Supreme Venerables. At the same time, he released the power of virtue that was concealed by the fog. After the power of virtue appeared, the aura of the Supreme Bone Flame was greatly isolated. At this time, Night Sorrow used the 99 True Words technique. It was used to reduce the intensity of the flames and increase his defense. However, even so, Night Sorrow still felt very uncomfortable under the pressure of the Supreme Bone Flame. At this time, he circulated the Leakin Supreme bloodline in his body, allowing it to rapidly heal his injuries. Under the condition of continuous recovery, although Night Sorrow could not withstand the Supreme Bone Flame, he still managed to endure the burning of the Bone Flame. Seeing that Night Sorrow could endure the Supreme Bone Flame, the old voice spoke. The pale voice suddenly spoke, "Well done. I'll count you as a success." As he spoke, he put away the Supreme Bone Flame. He appeared on the mountain peak. However, his face was blurry. Night Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to observe, and found that the old man's face was still blurry. The aura on his body also seemed to be unfathomable, giving off a mysterious and powerful feeling. He immediately asked in confusion, "You're the Supreme Venerables?" Because the other party was very likely to be the phantom of the Supreme Venerables, he did not address him as Sir. Hearing this, the old man smiled and said, "You don't need to address me as Sir. It makes me feel very good. This is your reward, take it." After speaking, he took out a fragrant green fruit and threw it to Night Sorrow. "What fruit is this?" Night Sorrow, who received the fruit, asked in confusion. "This fruit can allow you to advance to the half-step Supreme Venerables. In addition, I'll also give you the Supreme Bone Flame here. Collect it yourself." After the old man said this, he completely disappeared into the void. "That's it. Why is it different from what I expected?" After the old man disappeared, Night Sorrow was immediately surprised. According to Deputy Dean Jixian's words, he would reach the top of the Mountain of Flames and meet the avatar of the Supreme Venerables. He was a little nervous. However, he did not expect the avatar of the Supreme Venerables to take out the reward so easily. In fact, Night Sorrow did not know that the Supreme Venerables did not care about his identity at all. He only cared about whether he had the aptitude to advance to the Supreme Venerables. Now that he had verified that he had the aptitude to advance, he immediately gave him a reward. His purpose was naturally to cultivate him, and then devour him to improve his strength. Congratulations, mission completed. Just as Night Sorrow was puzzled, the scroll on his body flew out on its own. It congratulated him. "Thank you." Night Sorrow immediately looked at the scroll with the sea serpent's eye. At this time, a half-meter-long gold leaf suddenly flew out of the scroll. The scroll said, "This is the cultivation method to advance to the Supreme Venerables. It's your reward for completing the hidden mission." The cultivation method to advance to the Supreme Venerables? The reward is actually something so precious? Hearing the sound of the scroll, Night Sorrow was surprised again. He did not expect that the avatar of the Supreme Venerables and the scroll would give him such a good reward. Chapter 3394. Night Sorrow felt that the treatment he received was a little too fake. Supremacy Mia was an extremely cruel person. He was the one who caused the suffering of the people. Now he was giving away such good resources, cultivation methods, and the Supreme Venerable Bone. This was completely incomprehensible. No matter how he thought about it, it didn't make sense. I think Supremacy Mia wants to cultivate Supreme Venerable Bone. Does he have some ulterior motive? This matter is indeed very strange. Little Fool also transmitted his voice. This matter was simply too bizarre. Supremacy Mia was definitely not a merciful person. When he first appeared, he was not pretentious at all. He casually gave away so many good things. And the behavior of the scroll was exactly the same as Supremacy Mia. When these two things happened at the same time, anyone would feel that something was wrong. As the saying goes, One who is unaccountably solicitous is hiding evil intentions. We have to be more careful with supremacy, Mia. We also need to purify the things in front of us. As Knight Sorrow spoke, he took the Eternal Divine Tower and left the Lutian Academy. He found a deserted mountain and began to deal with the few things he had obtained. In half a month's time, he purified the green fruit, the golden leaf, and the supreme venerable bone several times with the power of merit. After he felt that there was nothing wrong, he swallowed the fragrant green fruit in the Eternal Divine Tower. This fruit was fragrant. When he ate it, it also had a hint of fragrance. It was not too sweet, but it made his body feel very comfortable. Comfortable. I've never felt like this before when I've taken other elixirs. That comfortable feeling was very enjoyable. Knight Sorrow felt as if he had been reborn. After spending about a year in this state, he felt that his body had been transformed to the extreme. Then he began to absorb and refine the fruit's medicinal power. As time passed, Knight Sorrow began to get closer and closer to the half-step to Supreme Venerable Bone. In the end, the energy he needed had reached the level of perfection. He only needed a little more comprehension. Just as he was thinking about how to comprehend the half-step to Supreme Venerable Bone, the fruit core he spat out suddenly emitted a strange light. As the light bloomed and entered Knight Sorrow's body, he instantly comprehended the secret of the half-step to Supreme Venerable Bone. He had successfully stepped into it. Did I take a shortcut? Will there be any problems? Little Fool asked in surprise when he saw Knight Sorrow use this method to step into the half-step Supreme Realm. I'm not sure if there will be any problems. However, his strength had indeed increased. Now that I've entered the half-step Paramount Realm, the gap between me and some experts should be closed. Now all I have to do is wait for my tribulation. Knight Sorrow left the Eternal Divine Tower. Looking at the sky filled with thunderclouds, he immediately felt high-spirited. At this time, although he was worried that extreme destruction supremacy had done something to him, he felt that since he was already here, there was nothing to be afraid of. Then, under the witness of the Eternal Divine Tower, he successfully passed through the lightning tribulation. He had completely advanced to the first grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. I need to consolidate my cultivation. It shouldn't take too long. After that, we will search for the third level. Knight Sorrow sent a voice transmission to the Eternal Divine Tower, then began to stabilize his half-step Paramount Realm cultivation base. He had just stepped into this realm and needed some time to get used to it. Sure, if we can find Little 3, we will be able to advance to the fifth stage of the half-step Supreme Realm. When the time comes, we will have new abilities. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Little 7 immediately said happily. The others were the same. They hoped more than Knight Sorrow that the Eternal Divine Tower could be gathered quickly. After all, when they were combined, they would become a Supreme Realm divine weapon. The Supreme Realm was the limit of the fog area and the Eternal Supreme Realm. It was very impressive. If they succeeded, it would be of great help to Knight Sorrow. Don't worry. I will do my best to reunite you quickly. At this time, Knight Sorrow had just entered the half-step Supreme Realm. He felt that his resonance with heaven and earth was even stronger. In the process of familiarizing himself, he felt that he was beginning to become stronger. After cultivating for a while, he asked, "How is Sujetian's situation?" This Sujetian seems like he can't hold on any longer every time, but he forcefully endured it. He is definitely a tough guy. Little 5 immediately replied. He had always been the one in charge of interrogating Sujetian. However, he had never been able to completely subdue him, which made Little 5 a little unhappy. Think of a way to increase the strength. His star ruins are very useful to me. Knight Sorrow instructed and continued to cultivate. After adapting to his realm, he began to work on the unique skills, secret skills, and divine powers that he had mastered. He changed the Treastrimsa Heaven's secret combat technique to the Treastrimsa Heaven's secret combat technique. This was achieved by using the power of the star ruins. It increased the power of the Treastrimsa Heaven's secret combat technique by about 40%. In addition, he had also perfected the Ice and Fire Motherchild Spear. Although there were no major changes, their power had increased. If I fight an ordinary third-stage half-step Supreme Realm now, I might be able to easily crush them. After completely cultivating, Night Sorrow said with a smile. At this moment he felt comfortable all over. Every breath he took resonated with heaven and earth. This feeling was as if he was about to ascend to immortality. It was very special. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Little Fool smiled and said, "This is only first stage half-step Supreme Realm. When you step into the Supreme Realm, it will be as if you have become one with heaven and earth. That feeling is truly comfortable. It is very beautiful. I look forward to the arrival of this realm. However, even if you can advance to the Supreme Realm, you can't let your guard down. I keep feeling that the 3 Supreme Realm Supremes don't have any good intentions. They are brewing a conspiracy. The recent chaos in the fog area must have been designed by them. I wonder what they are plotting," Night Sorrow said with a frown. He could feel that the 3 Supreme Realm Supremes were doing something on purpose, but he was not sure what their intentions were. The truth is indeed not optimistic. Even if you can advance to the Supreme Realm, with Yen Jizuan and Yen Hengshi, you might not be a match for the 3 Supreme Realm Supremes. The pressure that the 3 of them give off is too strong. Little Five continued. They already knew that the 3 Supreme Realm Supremes were in good condition from Yen Hengshi. They did not know what grade they had advanced to. Yen Jizuan had been recuperating. Yen Hengshi was in a soul state, and Night Sorrow had not advanced yet. The gap between him and the 3 Supreme Realm Supremes was not small at all. Hearing this, Night Sorrow said with a frown, "If only Senior Changxing was still here. This Su Zhetian in my body is a target for him to possess." That's right. This guy is so stubborn. He might as well directly possess him and control everything, Little Five said unhappily. He really did not have a good way to deal with Su Zhetian. At this moment, Night Sorrow still wanted to say something. However, he suddenly received a voice transmission from Jielin. After hearing it clearly, Night Sorrow's expression immediately changed. www. Chapter 3395. From Jielin's words, Night Sorrow knew that Jinghai was leading 10 half-step to Supreme Realm Warlords to attack the Night Demon territory. On Jinghai's side, there were not only 10 warlords. There was also the Sea King and many other members of the Sea Clan. In total, they had more than 10,000 heavenly sovereigns. The number of earthly sovereigns was even more than 1,000,000. At this moment, the people from the Night Demon territory were already trapped in Friend City. Relying on the power of the array and a few half-step to Supreme Realm experts, they were barely able to deal with the enemy. The situation was very bad. Jinghai, 10 half-step to Supreme Realm Warlords and the Sea King, who is a half-step to Supreme Realm. Jielin and the rest will definitely not be able to resist. I have to hurry back. After receiving the news, Night Sorrow told the Eternal Divine Tower about the matter, and gave up on his original plan. He stepped on the road back to Friend City. He knew that the reason for all this was because he had taken the resources from the Sea Clan's treasury. Naturally, he did not want to implicate his friends. As Night Sorrow was rushing back, Jielin, Yunyi, and the rest were all standing on the tall walls of Friend City. Facing Jinghai's army, they did not have a good way to deal with him. They could not attack at all. Jinghai had also used some means to cut off the transportation device, so that they could not use it to leave. Everyone was trapped in the city, unable to escape. Sigh. Even if Brother Yi returns, it will not be easy to deal with the situation in front of us. Not only is Jinghai unfathomable, but the Sea King is also very terrifying. The other 10 warlords' auras are also very strong. They are suppressing us in all aspects. Jielin said helplessly as she looked at the many enemies in front of her. She was a half-step to Supreme Realm 2nd stage. Yin Hongmei had just advanced to 3rd stage, Qingbao, and the Sea King were also 3rd stage. As for the 2 half-step to Supreme Realm experts of the Ape Clan, one was a 2nd stage and the other was a 1st stage. Although they did not look bad, compared to Jinghai's people, they were not enough. In addition, the number of heavenly sovereigns and earthly sovereigns that Jinghai led was crushing Friend City. No matter how one looked at it, they had no hope of winning and were in a desperate situation. Unless a miracle happened. At this time, Master Wan Jian said, "I believe that as long as Brother Yi can make it back in time, There is hope for everyone. Everyone had encountered many desperate moments, but every time, he was able to lead everyone to safety. I think it should be the same this time. Yes. I hope Brother Yi can come back soon. Yuan Fengxue unconsciously touched her belly. She was obviously pregnant. When everyone was shrouded in a haze. The people from the Clear Sea were also studying how to take down the Night Devil territory with the least amount of losses. From their point of view, victory was already within their grasp. Therefore, how much damage they suffered became the biggest problem. At this moment, Gathering Friends City was clearly protected by a formation, so they had been trying to break the formation. During this process, the Ninth General said, Master Jinghai, since we have nothing to do, why don't I go challenge them? He was looking for a half-step limiter in the Night Demon territory to engage in a death match. If we kill one of them, they will be less of a threat when the war starts. That's a good idea, but do they dare to accept it? Jinghai sneered as he looked in the direction of Gathering Friends City. From his point of view, these people in front of him were all ant-like existences. Don't worry, Master. A one-on-one battle is the best choice for these people who are surrounded. They will definitely choose to accept the challenge. The Ninth General glanced at Gathering Friends City and said confidently, That makes sense. However, in my opinion, you might not be able to gain the upper hand against those people. Jinghai thought for a moment and said, Fourth General, you will fight. With your strength as a third-stage half-step Supreme Realm, you should be able to crush all the people on the other side. Yes, Master. After the Fourth General was called out, he left the formation and went forward to challenge them. The Ninth General immediately suffered a blow. At this moment, Jinghai smiled and said, Little Ninth, I'm protecting you. When they start fighting, you will find that you are no match for them. Thank you, Master. After being discovered that he was emotional, the Ninth General immediately replied in fear. He did not dare to disobey Jinghai at all, because Jinghai was too terrifying. That kind of powerful pressure was not inferior to that of the 3 vice-chancellors. Seeing that the Fourth General had started to challenge them, everyone on the Night Devil territory's side immediately began to discuss how to deal with it. After discussing for a while, they felt that it was better to fight now than to fight after the formation was broken. Therefore, no matter what, they should choose to accept the challenge. After the discussion was more or less over, Yen Hongmei said, The cultivator who is challenging us is a third-stage half-step Supreme Realm. Although I have just advanced to third stage not long ago, I have the ability to fight. Let me fight. At this moment, she was considered the strongest person in Gathering Friends City, so she was unwilling to pass on this responsibility. No. Now that you are the strongest person on our side, you can't go out to fight so easily. It's better for me to fight. Qing Bao, who was slightly weaker than Yen Hongmei, said. He was also a third-stage half-step Supreme Realm, the same as the Fourth General's cultivation. Moreover, he had recently received a large amount of resources from Night Sorrow and his strength had increased. This all right. Hearing this, Yen Hongmei replied. She knew that there were more difficult opponents waiting for her, so she had no intention of rushing to fight. Then I'll have to trouble Brother Qing Bao. Jie Lin, who originally wanted to fight, also said. She felt that her strength should be about the same as Qing Bao's, and the difference was not big. Anyone could fight. The others also felt that Qing Bao was more suitable. Finally, Black Bao said something to everyone and flew out of Gathering Friends City, standing in front of the Fourth General. He said, Let me fight you. Haha. Happy death. Seeing Qing Bao fly over, the Fourth General sneered with killing intent. You're just a servant. What are you pretending for in front of me? Qing Bao ridiculed disdainfully, then released his own god realm, and took out his divine artifact. The Fourth General, who was called a servant, immediately flew into a rage. He roared, Fight in the void. All right, who's afraid of who? Seeing the Fourth General fly into the void, Qing Bao immediately followed. Then a tit-for-tat battle began above. Both sides quickly fought for dozens of rounds, and the result was a tie. At this moment, Elder Purple Cloud walked to Jinghai's side and said, Lord Jinghai, who do you think will win this battle? Why do I feel that their strength is basically the same? It's simple. When enemies meet on a narrow path, the courageous will win. Their strength is 50-50. Who will win in the end will depend on courage and luck. Elder Purple Cloud said casually as he observed Jing Hai. Chapter 3396. After Jing Hai said that, Elder Ziyin wanted to say something. He continued, "My 10 generals are the bravest warriors in the world. They won't lose in courage." "Where did you get your generals from, Master Jing Hai?" Upon hearing Jing Hai's words, Elder Ziyin asked in confusion. He had never seen the 10 generals in front of him in Lu Tian Academy. "In one of the ruins, I inherited a legacy, and they appeared," Jing Hai explained. It was the first time he had revealed this to others. Elder Ziyin exclaimed, "Master Jing Hai, you're really lucky. This is definitely a great opportunity for a supreme venerable." "Maybe," Jing Hai said nonchalantly. In fact, he was very proud of himself. For a genius like him who had cultivated for less than one cycle, it was inevitable that he would be a little vain. While they were talking, the battle between Qing Bao and the 4th general had reached its climax. In the process of the two of them fighting, the divine artifacts actually perished together. They were completely annihilated into dust in the clash. At that moment, they had switched from a battle of techniques and divine weapons to a hand-to-hand fight. They were using this method to fight. It was not just a test of their physical strength, but also their courage. In other words, courage. The 4th battle general clearly did a better job in this area. He was an ice-cold killing machine. "Qing Bao, do your best. You have to understand. It's either life or death in this battle." Seeing that Qing Bao was at a disadvantage, Yan Hongmei immediately transmitted her voice anxiously. She understood that the two of them were playing chess. One wrong move, and they would lose the whole game. Qing Bao was in a passive position now. He would need strong willpower to turn the tables. So she used life and death to motivate him. "I got it." Hearing Yan Hongmei's words, Qing Bao felt like he had been hit in the head. He immediately understood the cause and effect. In an instant, he completely ignited his bloodline power and fought the 4th general crazily. Gradually, the passive situation was reversed. How long can you keep igniting your bloodline? When your bloodline is completely ignited, I'll be able to defeat you easily. The 4th general was unable to ignite his bloodline due to his uniqueness. Seeing that Green Leopard's strength had increased so much, he immediately mocked in disdain. "Since you can't keep this up for long, I'll use this time to defeat you." The 4th battle general's words were like a catalyst that once again aroused Qing Bao's endless fighting spirit. Then he risked everything and attacked the 4th battle general. How did he become so powerful? After the Green Leopard completely exploded, the 4th battle general quickly realized something was wrong. He realized that he couldn't withstand the Green Leopard's attack. In terms of strength, the two sides could not match. Soon he was completely suppressed. In this situation, while the 4th battle general was still as cold as water, he had no power to resist. Good job, Green Leopard." Seeing that Green Leopard had gained the upper hand and was about to win, the master of the Myriad Sword sect, who had been worried all this while, suddenly roared to vent the emotions in his chest. Following that, everyone from Gathering Friends City cheered. They could already tell that Green Leopard would be able to win very quickly under such an advantageous situation. At this moment, Elder Ziyin said worriedly, "Master Jing Hai, it seems like the 4th war general is about to die. What should we do?" A butterfly can't fly over the sea." At this moment, Jing Hai had a disdainful smile on his face. Then he took out a flute and started playing. Following the sound of the flute, the 4th war general, who had been powerless against Green Leopard, suddenly became like an awakened beast. His strength instantly increased by several times. While being suppressed, he suddenly tore off one of Green Leopard's arms. "Cheating! You're cheating!" Seeing that Jing Hai's flute allowed the 4th war general to obtain a strange power, Jie Lin was instantly enraged. "If you have the ability, you can do the same." Hearing Jie Lin's words, Jing Hai responded disdainfully and continued to play the flute. What should we do? They're clearly trying to cheat, but we can't do anything." Knowing that Jing Hai was shamelessly trying to cheat, no one could think of a solution. Yin Ye's brows were already furrowed. There's a way. At this moment, Jie Lin said and transmitted to Green Leopard. Brother Green Leopard, admit defeat. Don't throw away your life. But I'm not willing. We can clearly win this battle. Green Leopard replied extremely unwillingly. At this moment, he was completely restrained by the Fourth War General, and was about to be torn apart. Don't worry so much. I'll take revenge for you. Jie Lin saw that the situation was not right, and had already flown out of the city. At this moment, Green Leopard could only helplessly say in shame, I admit defeat. Admit defeat? Even if you admit defeat, you'll still die. You have to understand that this is a battle of life and death. Facing Green Leopard who admitted defeat, the Fourth War General smiled coldly, and prepared to tear him apart. But at this moment, Jie Lin's attack arrived. The Fourth War General angrily shouted, You're cheating. The others on Jing Hai's side were also so angry that they stomped their feet and prepared to attack. But by the time they reacted, Jie Lin's attack was already close to the Fourth War General. Thus, it was too late for them to attack. Under these circumstances, the Fourth War General could only give up on Green Leopard and turn to fight Jie Lin. At this moment, Jie Lin looked at Jing Hai's side and said, Night Demon Territories Jie Lin, replace Green Leopard in battle. Then he started fighting with the Fourth War General. Seeing this, Jing Hai suppressed the other war generals who wanted to attack and said, Wait and see, they won't be able to play any tricks. This kind of small advantage doesn't matter. Okay, my lord. Everyone knew that Green Leopard had temporarily lost the ability to fight, so the Fourth War General's mission was basically complete. Thus they did not care. Although the Fourth War General was supported by the Clear Sea Flute, and was able to resist Jie Lin for a while, but in the end, he had used up too much energy. Unable to win, he chose to surrender. His ending was almost exactly the same as Green Leopard's. At the moment of crisis, it was the Third War General who saved him. Otherwise, he would have already died at Jie Lin's hands. Your strength is not enough. You're not my match at all. After the Third War General appeared, he looked at Jie Lin with disdain. At this moment, Jie Lin sneered and said, Who lives and who dies has not been seen yet. After speaking, she directly activated the green chessboard that she had set up in the void during the battle. After the green chessboard's aura exploded, she flew up into the air and prepared her strongest attack. She prepared to kill the Third War General in one blow. Seeing Jie Lin like this, Jing Hai's expression changed, and he started to think of a countermeasure. He knew that the Third War General who had been hit might not be able to block Jie Lin's attack. Chapter 3397. Under the circumstances, Jing Hai wanted to use his cheating method again. But after thinking for a while, he could not think of a way. For a moment, his face completely darkened. This doesn't look good. Lord Jing Hai, what should we do? Although Elder Ziyun's combat power was not top-notch, he was experienced enough. After Jing Hai, he realized that the Third War General was in trouble. Hearing this, Jing Hai said coldly, If he can survive this attack, we'll save him in the second battle. Isn't that how the other side saves people? Alright. Elder Ziyun nodded. Although he was considered the brains of the Pure Sea Legion, many things were still decided by the Pure Sea Legion. Hongmei, prepare to save me. Meanwhile, Jie Lin sent a voice transmission to Yan Hongmei as he unleashed his attack in the void. She knew that after using this move, regardless of whether it succeeded or not, she would be completely weakened. Don't worry, I'm ready. Yan Hongmei had already released her godly domain, and was ready to move. Good. This way, I can use 100% of my power. Jie Lin replied and completely transformed into Jie Lin's body in the void. Then he summoned countless beetles and scale bugs. He suddenly attacked the Third War General who was bound by the green chessboard. When Jie Lin's attack landed on the Third War General, there was a huge tremor in the sky. At the same time, Yan Hongmei and the Second War General moved. Although they had not seen the situation of Jie Lin and the Third War General, they had already started to rescue them. After encountering each other, They did not even have time to see the situation of Jielin and the third war general before they clashed. After the two of them clashed, they were almost evenly matched. At the same time, they did not even have the chance to check the situation of Jielin and the third war general before they clashed. They began to fight in the sky. At the same time, the others present could see clearly. Jielin had already exhausted all his power and was lying flat on the ground. The third war general was also lying on the ground, but there was almost no unscathed spot on his body. Furthermore, he was being eaten by a large number of scale bugs and beetles. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. At the same time, Jinghai sent a voice transmission to the second war general. The third war general is not completely dead. Quickly finish off the woman in front of you. You know what you need to do after this. Yes, my lord. I'm at your service. After the second war general sent a voice transmission, he roared into the sky. At the same time, he took out a long spear and attacked Yan Hongmei with an ultimate technique. Shadowless Evil Spear. As soon as this ultimate skill was unleashed, countless evil spirits appeared in the void. When the evil spirits appeared, they were not very strong. But at that moment, Jinghai played the flute again. With the enhancement of the flute's music, the evil spirit's strength instantly increased. Then they to kill Yan Hongmei. What? How am I supposed to deal with an evil spirit that's half a step into the limitless stage? After these evil spirits increased their strength to half a step to the supreme realm, Yan Hongmei, who had originally been able to fight against the second general, was immediately suppressed. After suppressing Yan Hongmei, the second war general coldly roared and continuously attacked with suppressive attacks. At this moment, Yan Hongmei glanced at Jinghai, who was playing the flute. Clearly aware that he had greatly strengthened the second battle general, he immediately said angrily, "Everyone behind you will also be slaughtered by us." The second war general provoked Yan Hongmei with his words, but his hands never stopped. He was looking for a chance to kill her directly. At that moment, the pressure that Yan Hongmei felt was incomparably enormous. She knew that there were already half-step Supreme Realm experts in Gathering Friends City, who were more powerful than her. If this continued, she would definitely die if Night Sorrow did not return. Looking back at Gathering Friends City's city wall, Yan Hongmei was in complete despair. The city wall's defense had basically been broken, but Night Sorrow was not in Gathering Friends City. He still had not returned. What? Are you in despair? After the second war general took the initiative, he kept attacking her with his words. While Yan Hongmei was in a daze, he pierced her arm with his spear and pulled out a lot of flesh and blood. Yan Hongmei could not raise her left arm after her shoulder was pierced. In this state, her combat strength dropped again. At this moment, Jinghai transmitted his voice coldly. "The third general is dead. I want you to kill the two women below. The crueler, the better. Avenge the third war general." "Yes, sir." After the second war general received the order, he immediately reduced the strength of his attacks. He no longer aimed to kill Yan Hongmei instantly, but to kill her for fun. Yan Hongmei knew what he was thinking, but she did not have the ability to fight back. Her battle robe had already been cut open by the second war general's spear, and she looked very pathetic. "Bastard! What should we do?" The barbarian king, who was standing on the city wall, roared in anger as he watched Yan Hongmei being tortured. He could only try to send a message to Night Sorrow. However, Yishang was probably too far away and didn't respond at all. "We are at an absolute disadvantage and have no chance of winning. Don't forget, the first war general and Jinghai have not made a move yet," Qing Bao said helplessly as he saw the desperate situation. Yin Yi, Xian Yan, and the others also looked terrible. They were helpless and did not know what to do. Xiao Tianxian, Wang Jianzong, Su Lei, and the others were weaker, so there was nothing they could do. However, their hearts were heavier than everyone else's. After all, almost everyone from the Eternal Supreme World and the Eternal Ancient Desolate World was in Friends City. If Friends City was destroyed today, the two worlds would be destroyed. Only Night Sorrow and the others would be left. Could they still be called two worlds? Everyone, take care of yourselves. I will try my best to take him down with me. Yan Hongmei suddenly sent a message to everyone and started preparing to self-destruct. She wanted to use her life in exchange for the Second War generals to vent her hatred of being tortured. Sigh. The people on the city wall sighed, but no one had a better idea. Their faces were filled with gloom. You want to self-destruct in exchange for my life? You can't do it now. After the Second War general received Jinghai's message and learned that Yan Hongmei wanted to self-destruct, he immediately took out a secret treasure and imprisoned Yan Hongmei's body in the void, putting some distance between them. He also used his long spear to attack again, preparing to end her life. Bastard, I hate you. In despair, Yan Hongmei's face was as white as paper. She had no way to deal with it. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. We admit defeat for this round. Whose voice is that? Yan Hongmei heard the voice and was stunned. She was sure that it was not Night Sorrow. www. Chapter 3398. Not only was it not Night Sorrow, but it was also not anyone from Gathering Friends City. It was not them. Then who was this person? What was the use of him appearing in front of her? Under Jinghai's immense suppression, Yan Hongmei had completely lost her confidence. She glanced at the cultivator who had spoken. She discovered that it was a clean-looking male cultivator. His black hair was tied behind his head. He wore a slightly tattered green robe and held a 5-foot-long green sword in his hand. There was no expression between his brows. He looked neither happy nor sad, but his gaze gave off a feeling of incomparable confidence. Unconsciously, a trace of hope appeared in Yan Hongmei's heart, which had already been in complete despair. This feeling was very subtle. Even she found it miraculous. However, the Second War general did not stop his attack at all. He sneered. Who do you think you are? So what if you surrender? As he spoke, the long spear in his hand continued to stab at Yan Hongmei, who no longer had the ability to resist. Yan Hongmei had no ability to resist at all. She was in danger of dying at any time. I'm nothing, but I can do what Jinghai can do. At this moment, the man who had suddenly appeared put away the sword in his hand and took out a flute to play. As soon as the flute sound appeared, Yan Hongmei discovered that her body was filled with boundless energy. At the same time that she was facing a great threat, she immediately released boundless energy. It looked like she was preparing to self-destruct. Everyone around him was shocked. Not good. She's going to self-destruct. Quickly dodge. Sensing the change in Yan Hongmei's aura, Jinghai immediately transmitted a warning to the Second War general. In his opinion, Yan Hongmei was already dead. The Second War general did not need to take such an attack head-on. He could not accept losing 2 generals in a row. Yes, sir. After receiving Jinghai's transmission, the Second War general immediately gave up on continuing to attack. He used his movement technique to distance himself from Yan Hongmei. He almost returned to Jinghai's side. As expected. At this moment, Yan Hongmei revealed a cold smile. Then she recovered from her state of pretending to self-destruct. She took Jialin and flew directly back to Gathering Friends City's city wall. In fact, it was all thanks to the male cultivator that she could pretend to self-destruct so well. He was the one who had instructed Yan Hongmei to do this through voice transmission. He had also used the flute to support her with energy. Otherwise, with her condition, it was impossible for her to do this. When Yan Hongmei brought Jialin back to the city wall, Jinghai's face turned red. He understood that he had fallen into a trap and was quite angry. There was a long silence. Jinghai stood up with a cold expression. He looked at the male cultivator who had suddenly arrived and shouted, "Who are you?" At the same time, he began to observe the male cultivator's cultivation and aura. Behind him, Elder Zi Yun and the other generals were also observing this person's condition. Now that the battle had reached this point, they no longer wanted to fight one-on-one. "You can call me Supreme Longevity," the male cultivator said casually. Hearing this, Jinghai and the others did not react. However, Xiao Tianxian and the people from the 10,000 Swords sect were instantly excited. Master Wan Jian immediately asked, "Senior Longevity, is it really you? You've been resurrected?" "Yes." Supreme Longevity glanced back at the 10,000 Swords sect, but did not say much. In reality, his spirit was extremely special. It could be reassembled after death. After he had fallen in the battle on the island, his spirit quickly returned. Moreover, by chance, he had obtained a young body with great potential. Now that he had cultivated to the second stage of half-step Supreme Realm, he was clearly ahead of the people from the 10,000 Sword sect. His cultivation was even higher than Night Sorrows by a small level. Among the people from the Eternal Supreme Realm, his cultivation was ranked first. Supreme Longevity? Never heard of it. Hearing the name Supreme Longevity, Jing Hai's expression turned cold. He looked at Supreme Longevity and said, "You did well just now. You saved 2 half-step Supreme Realm female cultivators. You did the same." Supreme Longevity said calmly after Jing Hai finished speaking. He was someone who had experienced countless life and death situations. Even in the face of a great battle, his heart was as calm as still water. Right now, Jing Hai's faction had the upper hand, but he did not panic at all. "Haha, but the city's defense formation has been broken. I'm going to kill everyone in the city. How many can you save?" Jing Hai said with a crazed expression. He looked a little crazy. However, after he released his aura, the strength he displayed was indeed extraordinary. Although he was only a 3rd stage half-step Supreme Realm, his aura was definitely around the 4th stage. He was a level higher than Supreme Longevity. "I can save one," Supreme Longevity said confidently after Jing Hai finished speaking. "You can save one." Upon hearing this, Jing Hai was stunned. He did not understand why the other party would say such a thing. "I can save a city," Supreme Longevity said again. He cupped his hands and said, "Please enlighten me." Then he waved his sword and attacked Jing Hai. According to his judgment, as long as he could take Jing Hai down quickly, Gathering Friends City would be safe today. "You want to take me down and save the city?" Jing Hai immediately saw through Eternal Life's intentions. He sneered and said, "Do you have some kind of misunderstanding about our strength that cannot be dispelled?" As he spoke, he took out his treasure bowl and activated it. Once the treasure bowl was activated, it immediately sucked Supreme Longevity's sword into it. Even though Supreme Longevity had been through hundreds of battles, he was still shocked. He did not expect Jing Hai to have such a trick up his sleeve. After the sword left his hand, Supreme Longevity's brows furrowed. At this moment, Jing Hai waved his hand and said, "Kill them. Leave no one alive. Kill them all. Today, I'm going to massacre the city." "Yes, sir." Upon receiving Jing Hai's order, many of his subordinates rushed toward Gathering Friends City. As for Supreme Longevity and Jing Hai, they flew into the void to fight. Although Supreme Longevity's body was not bad, he was still a small level lower than Jing Hai. Furthermore, Jing Hai could use countless divine weapons, but he could not. Once a divine weapon or secret treasure was taken out, it would be sucked into the treasure bowl and become Jing Hai's. Under such circumstances, even Eternal Life Supreme would be powerless to reverse the situation. He was suppressed by Jing Hai to the point that he could not retaliate. Defeat was only a matter of time. At this moment, Gathering Friends City was quickly defeated by the Clear Ocean Army and the Oceanids. Chapter 3399. After all, the gap between the two parties was too big. Especially the Sea King, Elder Ziyun, and the rest who were half a step to the Supreme Realm. The Barbarian King and the rest were completely powerless against them. For a time, Gathering Friends City was almost flooded with blood. At this moment, Qing Bao, Jielin, and Yan Hongmei had not recovered at all. They were just kept in the Barbarian King's grotto heaven. They were only temporarily safe. The Barbarian King was being chased very badly. Although he was a 3rd stage half a step to the Supreme Realm, he was being chased by Elder Ziyun and the Sea King. Suddenly, he felt a sense of hopelessness, as if he had nowhere to go. Before he could completely escape from Gathering Friends City, he was intercepted by the two of them. Marshal Inyang Manga. Elder Ziyun had not even made a move, but the Barbarian King could not withstand the Sea King's ferocious attacks. Under such circumstances, the Barbarian King sent a voice transmission to everyone in the grotto heaven in despair. "The gap between us and the enemy is too big. I'm afraid we will all be wiped out today." Since we will all be wiped out, then let us out. If we burn all the blood essence in our bodies, we can still fight for a while. Kill as many as we can. After the barbarian king finished speaking, Qingbao immediately sent a voice transmission. He, Jielin, and Yen Hongmei did not want to die in the grotto heaven like cowards. Are you sure you want to come out? The barbarian king frowned and asked. At this moment, he would naturally follow everyone's opinion. Let me out. There are only Jielin who will die in battle, not Jielin who will wait to die. At this moment, Jielin sent a voice transmission, wanting to start the final battle. Okay, I will let you out. After receiving an affirmative answer, the barbarian king immediately let Jielin, Yen Hongmei, and Qingbao out. The moment they were let out, the three of them prepared to burn their blood essence at the same time. However, at this moment, a sorrowful cry came from afar. It turned out that a half-step to the Supreme Realm expert from the Ape clan was torn apart by the first general. Save me. Although his body had been torn apart, this Ape clan expert had not completely died. This was because his divine soul and dantian were not shattered. Hearing the cry for help, the other half-step to the Supreme Realm expert from the Ape clan wanted to help. But he was immediately surrounded by two battle generals. He was completely powerless. Hee. Why are you afraid of death? Let me tell you, no one in this world can save you. The first battle general roared and clawed at the ape expert's dantian. He wanted to crush her dantian and cripple her before slowly torturing her. How dare you? How dare you hurt my friend? Who gave you the guts to do that? At this moment, a thunderous roar came from the void. In this roar, there was a clear soul attack. After being yelled at, the first battle general's movements immediately slowed down. The distance between him and his dantian seemed to have transformed into a 10,000 zhonglong canyon. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't hit it. Then, Night Sorrow's figure suddenly appeared on the battlefield and flew towards the first general. At this time, the number 1 battle general clearly had not recovered from the soul attack. At this moment, Jinghai, who had been suppressing supreme longevity, suddenly roared, "Awaken!" After being yelled at, the number 1 general immediately came back to his senses and realized that he was currently being attacked by Night Sorrow. He immediately used his movement technique to dodge. Night Sorrow's main goal was to rescue the ape expert first. After the first general dodged, he immediately put the ape expert into the Eternal Divine Tower. Let him recover on his own. He took out his golden heavenly halberd, which had advanced to the 3rd stage of the half-step to the Supreme Realm, and shot the ice fire spear at the first general. The first general immediately felt a chill run down his spine. He realized that he was no match for Night Sorrow. Dodge, I'll deal with him. When Clear Sea saw that his top general wasn't a match for Night Sorrow, he roared and gave up on eternal life supremacy. He stood in front of Night Sorrow and blocked the spear for the first general. The first general would be fighting against Eternal Life Paragon. Jinghai, how dare you attack my territory? He asked. How dare you attack my territory? Today you'll die here. Night Sorrow used his divine sense to investigate and realized that many people had already died in Gathering Friend City. With a roar, he had the Eternal Divine Tower absorb everyone on his side into it. He then started fighting with Jinghai. Night Demon, when you stole my resources, you should have known that your territory would be destroyed. Jinghai, who was facing Night Sorrow, had a natural indifference and confidence on his face. After replying, he controlled the treasure basin and used it on the golden heavenly halberd. Night Sorrow, who knew that the treasure basin was very special, immediately put away the golden heavenly halberd. However, the Azure Phoenix battle armor he was wearing was starting to be affected. He put away the green Phoenix armor and changed into a set of green robes to continue fighting with Jinghai. In this way, Jinghai's treasure basin was no longer effective. However, Night Sorrow did not have the chance to use the divine weapon, so his strength was greatly affected. At this moment, Night Sorrow used his divine sense to investigate. After confirming that the Eternal Divine Tower had absorbed most of the cultivators, he relaxed a lot. However, when everyone was absorbed by the Eternal Divine Tower, only Night Sorrow, Supreme Longevity, the Barbarian King, and a powerful ape were left to fight with the other party. In terms of numbers, they were obviously at a disadvantage. Seeing that the situation was not good, the barbarian king immediately said, "Sir, the difference in numbers is too big. Why don't we give up our territory temporarily and fight back later?" "No way. Today, the night demon territory will not give up an inch of land. I swear to avenge my dead brothers. If you can't hold on, enter the eternal divine tower. Its grade is very high now, so it won't be defeated by these people." Night Sorrow coldly objected when he heard this. "All right. Then let's fight." Night Sorrow had no intention of retreating. Although the barbarian king was surprised, he did not refute and continued to fight. Luo Yunyang could sense that Night Sorrow wanted to take on the entire Pure Ocean Legion by himself. Yi Shang, on the other hand, looked at Jing Hai and said with a murderous tone, "It is still unknown who will win today." After saying that, he used his power of merit and turned it into 2 spears of merit. He used the Ice-Fire Twin Spears on Jing Hai. The moment the Ice-Fire Twin Spears were shot out, Night Sorrow used the Divine Essence Trap Array to lock Jing Hai within. However, Jing Hai did not use any strength against the Divine Essence Trap Array at all, and escaped from it by teleporting. The Divine Essence Trap Array had no effect on him at all. What ability is that? It seems like he's the same as Su Zhetian. He's another opponent with the aptitude of the Supreme State. After Jing Hai escaped from the Divine Essence Trap Array, Night Sorrow did not hesitate at all, and immediately used the 100 Words Mantra on him. He hoped that the 100 Words Mantra could slow him down. After all, Night Sorrow hoped that he could kill him quickly before settling the score with the others. Chapter 3400. After the 100 Words Mantra was used, Jin Hai's speed was greatly affected. With his speed, he could no longer dodge Night Sorrow's Icefire Motherchild Spear. Jin Hai calmed down and said coldly, "Your talent is not bad, but you are only a first-grade half-step to the Supreme Realm. There is a huge gap between you and me. I don't need to show off my skills to an ant like you. Die." Although he said that there was no need to show off his skills, he took out thousands of artifacts from the treasure bowl. He used them to fight Night Sorrow. The momentum shook the heavens and the earth. The other cultivators present felt their hearts tremble. They felt that his attack had the demeanor of a supreme. It was terrifying. Thousands of divine artifacts had been collected by Pure Sea using the treasure bowl. Although he could not unleash his full power, it looked extremely dazzling. The momentum was much greater than the Ice-Fire Motherchild Spear. While everyone was shocked, Night Sorrow also used the Sea Serpent's Eye to observe. He realized that there were dozens of half-step Supreme Realm artifacts among the artifacts. The others were all Supreme-grade Heavenly Sovereigns. The attack power of these artifacts is nothing, but if they self-destruct, it will be difficult to deal with them. The power of dozens of half-step Supreme Realm artifacts self-destructing was unimaginable. He used the light from the Ice-Fire Motherchild Spear to attack Jin Hai's attack. Boom, boom, boom. Although Night Sorrow's attack seemed a little weak, they still managed to shatter many divine artifacts. Just a small trick. Jing Hai sneered when he saw Night Sorrow shatter many of his divine weapons, but he couldn't stop the attack of the divine weapons. At the same time, he started to prepare his next move. Icebound World. At that moment, Night Sorrow suddenly used a move that he had never used before. He'd used the power of Frost Holy King for this move. His target was not just Jin Hai. All the enemies present were included. Once he used this move, not only were the artifacts that Jin Hai had shot out frozen in the void. As for the cultivators who were half a step away from the extreme realm, they were all frozen. They simply couldn't withstand such a terrifying ice attack. As for the few half-step Lemeters, they were all somewhat affected. Under such circumstances, the Eternal Divine Tower sucked in all the remaining people on his side and flew back to Night Sorrow's side. For a moment, only Night Sorrow was left facing Jing Hai and the others. "You want to fight the 9 of us by yourself?" Jing Hai sneered when he saw Yi Shang floating in the air by himself. After a series of battles, his side still had 9 half-step Lemeters who could put up a fight. He had no pity for the many heavenly sovereigns and earthly sovereigns who had been sealed in ice. From his point of view, only half a step to the limitless realm was useful. You think you are worthy of being called the 9 great masters? Night Sorrow snarled in disdain as he shot his Inferno demon-subduing spear at the divine weapon that was trapped in the void, using large-scale flames to attack these divine artifacts. After being burned by the flames, many of the divine artifacts had terrifying cracks on them. You have some skills, but so what? Seeing that Night Sorrow had almost destroyed all the divine artifacts that he had summoned, Jinghai's expression darkened. Jinghai's face darkened. Then he unleashed the ultimate skill he had been preparing for this moment. Mirror Myriad skill. After using this skill, dozens of Jinghai's mirror images appeared in the void. After the mirror images were summoned, these Jinghai formed seals at the same time and attacked Night Sorrow. At the same time, the Sea King and the others also attacked Night Sorrow. As for Elder Ziyun, who had met Yishang once before, he transmitted his voice. Mo. With your strength alone, you can't fight against all of us. Why don't you join Jinghai, and we can fight together? You don't have the right to make me submit. Since we are old friends, I'll give you a chance. If you choose to follow me, I won't care about anything else. After Elder Ziyun finished speaking, Yishang sent a voice transmission coldly. Hearing this, Elder Ziyun laughed. Night Demon, although you might have supreme exalted aptitude, you have no chance of winning against us. If you continue to be stubborn, don't blame me for not caring about our past relationship. What past relationship do we have? Attack. Night Sorrow sneered as he used Defiant 9 Steps and Ocean Roaming Dragon. He dodged the attacks of many half-step Supreme Realm experts. However, there were too many half-step Supreme Realm experts, so he still looked a little pathetic. Ha ha ha. This is the result of blind confidence. Ziyun sneered when he saw that Yishang was fighting 1 against 9, and seemed to be in a difficult situation. Then Jinghai laughed. Some people always think that they're the saviors of the world. In reality, they're nothing. Kill him for me. There's no need to show any mercy. At this moment, Supreme Longevity, who had been kept in the Eternal Divine Tower, said, Night Sorrow, let me go out and fight with you. Barbarian King also said, Yes, sir. The two of us are not injured, so we can still fight. We can definitely help if we go out. No need. They don't have the ability to kill me yet. Rest peacefully like everyone else. Oh right, little fool, let Senior Longevity try to possess Suzhitian. Suzhitian has supreme exalted aptitude. Night Sorrow immediately said after hearing everyone's voice transmissions. In the process of the battle just now, Little Fool had already told him some things about Eternal Life Supreme. Night Sorrow felt that since Suzhitian was someone who would not be moved by force or persuasion, he might as well let Supreme Longevity possess him. After that, the Star Ruins would naturally belong to them. After advancing to half-step Supreme Exalted, his strength had increased qualitatively. At this point in the battle, he was not going to hide anymore. After a loud roar, he ignited his Phoenix Bloodline, Scale Bloodline, and Leaken Bloodline. After igniting the 3 bloodlines, his aura increased tremendously. After releasing the power of merit around his body, he gave off a feeling that he was invincible. Even when facing 9 half-step Supreme Exalted experts, his aura was not weak at all. While the 9 of them attacked at the same time, Night Sorrow sent a voice transmission to Little Fool. Little Fool, I'll trap the weaker ones. Get ready to attack with a half-step Supreme Exalted stage for attack, and kill them instantly. Okay, I'm ready to attack at any time. Little Fool heard the voice transmission, and handed the matter of Supreme Longevity and Suzhitian to Little 5. Then he began to prepare his attack. It's just the 2 of them. At this moment, Night Sorrow seemed to be in a difficult situation while dodging the attacks. However, he had actually locked onto the 2 weaker generals. He used the Divine Essence Trap Array and the 100 Words Mantra to trap the 2 of them. At the same time, he ordered Little Fool to attack. Chapter 3401. Good. Watch me take their lives. A true 4th grade half-step to the Supreme Realm attack is different from the Sea Kings. After Little Fool sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow, he controlled the Eternal Divine Tower to attack the 2 bound generals with a 4th grade half-step to the Supreme Realm attack. After the 2 beams of light were shot out, Even Jinghai was surprised. This attack was even slightly stronger than his strongest attack. As one of the strongest third-grade half-step to the Supreme Realm, he could easily tell that his two subordinates would not be able to withstand such an attack. Under such circumstances, Jinghai was envious. He felt that if he had a divine artifact of this grade, it would definitely increase his strength by a lot. He took out the treasure basin and activated it, wanting to absorb the eternal divine tower into it. At the same time, he sent a voice transmission to Ziyun, the Sea King, and the others. Attack the night demon with all your strength. Ignore this tower. I'll deal with it. Yes. Ziyun, the Sea King, and the others received the voice transmission and immediately launched their most ferocious attacks on Night Sorrow. While Night Sorrow was resisting them, the two attacks of the Eternal Divine Tower had instantly killed two of the weaker champions. Well done. Use the Eternal Divine Tower to block the attacks of the Treasure Basin. Also restrain Jinghai. I'll kill 2 or 3 of them first. Night Sorrow saw the situation around him, and immediately sent a voice transmission to Little Fool. He knew that although the Treasure Basin could absorb other divine artifacts, it should not have much effect on the Eternal Divine Tower. After the Eternal Divine Tower merged with the 4th level, it could break through many defenses. Therefore, the energy of the Treasure Basin could not restrain it. Good. Watch how I deal with this Jinghai. Little Fool responded and pretended to be pulled by Cornucopia, flying in the direction of Cornucopia. Jinghai's mind rippled as he watched. Other than the Treasure Basin, he had never owned a 4th-grade half-step to the Supreme Realm Divine Artifact. Although the Treasure Basin was a 4th-grade half-step to the Supreme Realm Divine Artifact, it could only be used against divine artifacts and had no offensive capabilities. When he saw the 2 beams of light shot out from the Eternal Divine Tower, he was instantly attracted. Be careful, that Treasure Basin is something. Night Sorrow reminded Little Fool and started fighting with the cultivators led by Ziyun and the Sea King. After this battle, Night Sorrow suddenly realized that although the Sea King was a 4th-stage half-step Supreme Realm expert, he seemed to be deliberately hiding his true strength. It seemed that they had not completely submitted to Jinghai and the others. Thus, he transmitted his voice. There is no enmity between us. We can join forces and attack them. Don't forget who killed your clansmen. It's none of your business. Furthermore, you don't have the ability to discuss this matter right now. Although the Sea King did not use his full strength, he did not take Night Sorrow seriously either. He felt that Night Sorrow had no chance of winning. Therefore, he did not take his words seriously at all. It seems like the destruction of the oceanic race was not without reason. Upon hearing this, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice again. Although it was just a simple conversation, he still felt disdain for the Sea King. He felt that the other party lacked a certain kind of boldness. Even if he had the opportunity, he did not dare to step forward. It was a shame to the Sea King's identity. At the same time, he was also ashamed of the deaths of so many oceanic race clansmen. Bastard, what did you say? You're courting death. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, the Sea King was instantly enraged. He, Ziyun, and the others attacked Night Sorrow crazily. As for Night Sorrow, he was under a lot of pressure when facing these people. However, he was still able to organize a counterattack. Although the Sea King, Ziyun, and the others were strong, they did not have the ability to kill him instantly. Therefore, although Night Sorrow's battle seemed dangerous, with the help of the Leaken Bloodline's powerful recovery ability, he was actually able to handle it with ease. Although he could not dodge some of the attacks, they were not fatal. He had basically withstood them all. Moreover, through the fierce attacks, he had directly shattered the energy center of one of the generals. It could be considered as directly crippling him. Although this general had been kept in Ziyun's space, he no longer had the ability to fight. At this moment, Supreme Longevity transmitted his voice to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, I've successfully possessed Sujetian's body and adapted to this body. Let me go out and fight with you. No. Senior Longevity, you've just successfully possessed this body. No matter how strong your adaptability is, it's impossible for you to completely adapt to this body. You'll be courting death if you come out. I can't let you come out. Night Sorrow rejected the voice transmission immediately after hearing it. At this moment, other than the pure sea, there were still 5 half-step Supreme Realm experts. Among them were the powerful Ziyun and the Sea King. If Supreme Longevity came out to fight without adapting to this body well, he might meet with misfortune. At this moment, Supreme Longevity continued, Night Sorrow, you don't have to worry about me. My soul is indestructible. Even if it's shattered, it will reassemble. Now with the help of the star ruins, this body is indestructible as well. With the combination of the two, as long as I'm not kept in a space similar to the Eternal Divine Tower, I'll never die. It's a piece of cake for me to fight with people like us. I see. Then I really have to congratulate you, Senior Longevity. Waiter, let the senior out. Knowing that Supreme Longevity's soul and body were perfectly compatible, Night Sorrow congratulated him and let Waiter out. After coming out, Supreme Longevity immediately fought with the Sea King. As long as the Sea King did not use his full strength, both sides were basically evenly matched. After Supreme Longevity had successfully possessed Suzhitian, his body's strength had increased tremendously. Moreover, with the help of the Star Ruins, his abilities had increased tremendously. With the Sea King and Pure Sea pinned down, Night Sorrow's opponents were only Ziyun and the other 3 warlords. In a 1 versus 4 situation, his advantage was completely unleashed. Not long after, he killed another warlord. When there were only 3 of them left, Ziyun immediately sent a voice transmission to Pure Sea. Master Pure Sea, please stop chasing that tower. Fight this night demon with us. We can't hold on any longer. What? You're all so useless? At this moment, Pure Sea had almost sucked the Eternal Divine Tower into his treasure bowl. Therefore, he didn't want to help. However, when he looked back, he realized that there were only 3 cultivators left facing Night Sorrow. He instantly understood that he couldn't be greedy for the Eternal Divine Tower. He gave up chasing after it and fought Night Sorrow like the others. After Pure Sea joined in, Night Sorrow's situation became more difficult. However, with the leak in bloodline, his god origin energy wasn't depleted too much. Moreover, he was recovering from his injuries. Although he looked very haggard, he was still standing. The members of the Myriad Sword sect all started to pray for Yi Shang as they watched the battle unfold. They hoped that he could continue to create miracles. Chapter 3402. After all, to be able to fight to such a state in despair was already not easy. Not only did he save all of them, but he also suppressed the Jinghai army and killed several half-step Extreme Realm experts. This was simply his own strength, carrying the Night Devil territory forward. In comparison, they were a bit of a burden, and their strength could not keep up at all. The only thing they could do was to support Night Sorrow mentally. At this moment, Master Wan Jian gritted his teeth and said, If we can win today's battle, no matter how great the price we have to pay in the future, we must quickly advance to half-step Extreme Realm. This state of only being able to watch and not fight is really depressing. That's right. All those years ago, we fought by Brother Ye's side. Morong Jinlu also said unhappily. Now that they were left behind by Night Sorrow, they could no longer keep up with the battle rhythm of half-step Extreme Realm experts. They could only worry. At this moment, Little Five sighed and said, Actually, it's not just you guys. Even Night Sorrow has not completely caught up in terms of realm. Although his current strength is not bad, the final enemy's strength is above Supreme Realm level 5 and above. That's a level that makes people despair. You mean the 3 Supreme Supremes? After Little Five finished speaking, Xiao Tianxian asked doubtfully. Yes. At the end of the day, the opponents in front of us are just small fries. In the end, we have to fight against those 3. In Night Sorrow's heart, he was also aware of this point. Therefore, his requirements for himself were much higher than ordinary people. It's also not easy. I hope that in the future, you guys can be of some help. Little Five continued. He sincerely hoped that 1 or 2 of these people in front of him would be useful, so that Night Sorrow would not still be fighting alone in the final battle. The scene in front of them was really a little heart-wrenching. Although Night Sorrow had not fallen, he had been hit countless times. It looked like the battle was very tragic. Especially after Jinghai joined, Night Sorrow's battle became more and more difficult, and he was almost completely suppressed by them. He did not have much ability to resist. He relied on the powerful recovery ability of the Leakin bloodline to continue to hold on. Everything looked extremely hopeless. Clear Sea saw that Night Sorrow did not have much ability to resist them. He immediately sneered. "You're very good. Your strength has gained my recognition. I'll give you a chance to swear allegiance to me. I will spare your life and confer you the title of the #1 general. Stop dreaming. Not to mention submitting to you. Even if you submit to me, I won't agree. Today, no matter what, I will use your blood to pay tribute to the dead. Don't think that you can just walk away after killing someone. The people of my Night Devil territory are not that easy to kill." "Don't worry," Jinghai said coldly as he faced Night Sorrow. At the same time, the power of the Star Ruins began to radiate from his body. He had obtained this Star Ruin energy from the Star Ruin milk, and this was the first time he had used it. Night Sorrow's strength had once again risen to a whole new level after unleashing the power of the Star Ruins. At the same time, he activated the Treastrimsa Star Ruins secret art and destruction divine ability, raising his strength to the maximum. Then he shouted, "Eternal Divine Tower, fight with me." He also took out the Green Phoenix battle armor, Golden Heavenly Halberd, and Desolation War Halberd. After taking out the Green Phoenix battle armor, he immediately blasted the Frostfire Motherchild Spear at Jinghai. The Frostfire Motherchild Spear shot out from the Golden Heavenly Halberd and Desolation War Halberd were obviously more powerful than the Spear of Virtue. Impressive. However, your attack can't hit me at all. After Night Sorrow raised his strength to the maximum, his speed was not something that ordinary half-step extreme realms could keep up with. However, Jinghai sneered and easily dodged this attack. At this moment, Night Sorrow laughed. "I'm not attacking you. Why are you dodging? Ziyin, go to hell." It turned out that on the surface he was attacking Jinghai, but in reality, he was targeting Ziyun. At the same time that Jinghai dodged, Night Sorrow shot out the Divine Essence Trap Array and Merit Trap Array at Ziyun. He also used the 100-word mantra to completely seal Ziyun within. At this moment, Jinghai and the other generals wanted to help, but it was too late. "Lord Jinghai, save me." In the face of this attack, Ziyun's expression changed drastically. He completely did not expect that Night Sorrow would become so powerful after raising his strength to the peak. He and the other two battle generals immediately lost the ability to fight. Most likely, only after Jinghai erupted could he continue to resist Night Sorrow. Only now did he understand why Night Sorrow was so confident, daring to fight 1 against 9. It turned out that after he completely erupted, he already vaguely had strength of half-step extreme realm 4th stage. He can't save you. Now are you still persuading me to surrender? Before the Frostfire Motherchild Spear completely bombarded Ziyun's body, Night Sorrow said coldly, "I surrender, Lord Night Demon. I'm willing to submit to you." Facing death, Ziyun chose to submit. However, at this moment, Night Sorrow sneered and said, "You made the right choice. However, the timing was wrong. Die." Then he completely used the Frostfire Motherchild Spear to insta-kill him. Damn it. Seeing Night Sorrow raise his strength and kill Ziyun in front of him, Jinghai immediately shouted. Jinghai roared. He was in a very bad mood right now. At this moment, a general reminded him, "My lord, if we continue to fight, I'm afraid we will all be annihilated. Why don't we fight again next time? After all, the Sea King might not be sincere. If he betrays us, it will be difficult for us. Bastard. Night Demon and I are both people with aptitude for the extreme realm. We can't back down from a battle between us. Otherwise his chi would be transported away. Even if I die in battle today, I won't back down. Besides, he might not be a match for me." Hearing this, Jinghai was instantly enraged. He definitely did not want to lose the battle in front of him. After the voice transmission, he looked coldly at Night Sorrow and said, "You forced me to do this. Prepare to die." With a crazed expression, he took out the treasure bowl and swallowed it. After swallowing the treasure bowl, his aura instantly changed from half-step extreme realm 3rd stage to half-step extreme realm 4th stage. This aura was a little erratic at first, but it gradually stabilized. After stabilizing his aura, Jinghai looked at Night Sorrow and said, "You caused me to lose an important trump card. Today you must die. If you want to kill me, you can't just rely on your mouth." At this moment, after Night Sorrow's strength had increased, his aura was only a little bit away from half-step Extreme Realm 4th stage. In total, he was half a level lower than Jinghai. Both of their auras had already surpassed the Sea Kings. No one else present could compare to them. At this moment, Jinghai sent a voice transmission to the remaining 2 generals and said, "Enter my space. I want to kill him alone." The 2 generals immediately responded, "Yes, my lord." After they were sucked in, a dagger with a strong aura appeared in Jinghai's fair hand. Chapter 3403. The dagger's aura was exactly the same as the treasure bowl that Jinghai had devoured. Night Sorrow immediately determined that this dagger was in essence a treasure bowl. It was just that it had appeared in a different form. It was a genuine 4th grade half-step Supreme Realm artifact, so it was still very powerful. After taking out the dagger, Jinghai muttered a few incantations, and the dagger slowly flew into the air. It locked onto Night Sorrow like a living thing. Being locked onto by the dagger, Night Sorrow felt as if he was being stared at by a ferocious beast, and a sense of danger rose in his heart. At this moment, Jinghai said sinisterly, "Gather the dagger, no Dantian. Prepare to die." With that, Jinghai used his godly soul power to control the dagger in the air, and stabbed it at Night Sorrow. "It's so fast. Night Sorrow, you have to be careful." Seeing how fast Jinghai was controlling the dagger, Little Fool immediately warned him. At this moment, the Eternal Divine Tower's energy was almost depleted, so it could not attack with a 4th grade half-step Supreme Realm attack. It could only be anxious and could not help much. "It's okay. This dagger should not be able to hurt me." At this moment, Night Sorrow was releasing the power of merit around him, and he was using the Defiant 9 steps to dodge the dagger. He could sense that Jinghai's dagger had an extremely evil aura. The evil aura of this aura was obviously stronger than the evil aura in the fog. He guessed that it would be affected by the power of merit. "You think you can dodge the Soul Slayer's gathered dagger with your skills? Dream on." Seeing that Night Sorrow did not attack, he chose to dodge the Soul Slayer's gathered dagger. A cold smile appeared on Jinghai's face. Then, he controlled the Soul Slayer's gathered dagger with a murderous expression and chased after Night Sorrow. Under his control, the Soul Slayer's gathered dagger's attacks were very sharp. It was like a dragon, stabbing into the air and creating afterimages. Night Sorrow, on the other hand, had been using his movement technique to dodge. However, the Soul Slayer's gathered dagger's attacks were too tricky. Although Night Sorrow's body was very strong, he was still stabbed several times. Once, it almost pierced Night Sorrow's Dantian. Seeing this situation, Little Fool suddenly said in surprise, "You can clearly use your attacks to block. Why do you keep dodging?" "I'm waiting for an opportunity." While Night Sorrow and Soul Slayer were fighting, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Little Fool. "What opportunity?" the waiter asked, puzzled. "Of course, it's to create an opportunity for you to collect it." Night Sorrow replied with a voice transmission. According to his judgment, the Soul Beheading Dagger, or Treasure Bowl, was Clear Sea's greatest trump card. As long as the Eternal Divine Tower sucked him in, Clear Sea would basically lose. Moreover, although he was not very interested in the Soul Slayer dagger, he was still interested in the treasure bowl. He really wanted to take it for his own use. While he was fighting against Soul Slayer's gathered dagger, he had been luring it further away. At this point, Clear Sea was still immersed in his advantage on the surface, and did not notice this detail. Little Fool, who understood Night Sorrow's intentions, replied, "If you can paralyze the Soul Slayer dagger for a short period of time, I can take it in. Then you'd better be prepared. Put some distance between us, and I'll make my move." Night Sorrow replied to Little Fool, and continued to put some distance between himself and Clear Sea. He knew that a Grade 4 half-step Supreme Stage Divine weapon was not easy to deal with. However, the range that Clear Sea's spiritual power could control was definitely limited. Doing so would increase his chances of success. Die die die. At this moment, Clear Sea, who had not discovered Night Sorrow's intentions, was gradually becoming more and more violent in the process of controlling the Soul Slayer dagger. It was obvious that the amount of spiritual power he needed to control the Soul Slayer dagger was terrifying. Under such circumstances, he was completely unaware of Night Sorrow's intentions. He thought that Night Sorrow was not strong enough and could only defend passively. As an extremely proud person, he felt that it was normal for Night Sorrow, who was only half-stepped to the supreme stage, to be suppressed like this. Still not enough? Little Fool asked curiously when he realized that Night Sorrow's situation was becoming more and more dangerous. Don't worry, I'm acting this dangerous situation myself. I'm doing this to make Clear Sea lower his guard. Night Sorrow replied calmly, and continued to put some distance between himself and Clear Sea. It looked like he was retreating in defeat. The Eternal Divine Tower floated at his waist, ready to attack. In the distant void, Supreme Longevity, who had taken over Su Zhetian's body, was engaged in an intense battle with the Sea King. Although the Sea King had used all his strength, he could not do anything to Supreme Longevity. This was a blow to his confidence. Clear Sea's expression was cold as he thought to himself, "Looks like you can't hold on much longer. It's time to unleash the final blow." With that in mind, he prepared to unleash the final blow of Soul Slayer's gathered dagger. Shadowless Soul Slayer. Soul Slayer's gathered dagger's attack had been aimed at the Dantian. However, the final blow was aimed at the Divine Soul. If hit by this attack, regardless of whether one was a half-step to the Supreme Stage, or a half-step to the Supreme Stage, their Divine Sea would shatter. This was Clear Sea's greatest reliance on his cultivation. It's time. Little Fool, get ready to attack. Just as Clear Sea was chanting the incantation to activate Soul Slayer's gathered dagger for the final blow, Night Sorrow suddenly sensed that Clear Sea's attack had stopped. He immediately used the Divine Vitality Trap Array and Merit Trap Array on Soul Slayer's gathered dagger. He also used the Golden Heavenly Halberd and the Desolation Halberd to unleash the Frostfire Motherchild Spear. The name of this move was different from Su Zhetian's Cosmic Ruins Motherchild Spear. However, it had the same effect but was much more powerful. Not only did it contain the elements of ice and fire, but it also contained intense Cosmic Ruins power and Merit power. The Soul Slayer's converged dagger was suddenly struck by this move and instantly lost its connection with the calm sea. What's going on? At this moment, Jing Hai, who had been preparing to unleash his most terrifying attack, suddenly froze. Little Fool, hurry up and do it. At this moment, Night Sorrow suddenly transmitted his voice to the child. Okay. Little Fool replied. In that short moment, he put Soul Slayer's gathered dagger into the Eternal Divine Tower. Bastards, what are you doing? Clear Sea only realized what was going on after Soul Slayer's gathered dagger was taken away. He immediately focused and controlled Soul Slayer's gathered dagger to struggle in the Eternal Divine Tower. The treasure basin had always been good at taking other people's divine weapons. Now that it had been taken away by Night Sorrow's Eternal Divine Tower, Clear Sea felt worse than if he had swallowed a fly. Night Sorrow, lend me some merit power. Otherwise, I might not be able to resist its counterattack. Little Fool transmitted his voice to Night Sorrow as Soul Slayer's gathered dagger struggled. Although the Eternal Divine Tower had taken Soul Slayer's gathered dagger, it hadn't completely severed its connection with Clear Sea. The battle wasn't over yet. You're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.